Love it when it's 4 wide, love it when it's fast.
It's in your hands here out.
I think I got a flag.
Love it when the leader's caught, the pack is moving past.
Count down with excitement, buddy. Get me pumped up here.
Love it when they make you lots of noise.
And Dale Earnhardt Jr. comes out with a lead.
Oh, it turned it. All right, guys, stay cool here. We're going to fix our stuff. Looks like it needs to be grabbed by the helmet again.
Can't wait to hear the W say.
Yeah, we knew it all day, didn't we? That's what I'm talking about. Yeah.
Let's go racing, boys. NASCAR racing, boys.
And this is Darlington, one of NASCAR's oldest, unique, and most entertaining tracks. Tonight it'll get lit up by 23-year-old Kyle Busch, who has taken on Junior Nation and anyone else who seems to get it his way. NASCAR on Fox welcomes you to our Saturday night special from South Carolina on a track here. The Lady in Black getting a facelift, and we're not talking about Joan Rivers. It has affected things as we welcome you inside the Hollywood Hotel, where America gathers every weekend. Along with Darrell Waltrip, Jeff Hammond, Chris Myers, thanks for being with us. And to all the moms out there a little early, happy Mother's Day.
Yeah,
and
happy Mother's Day,
South Carolina?
Yeah. that facelift has made some improvements, so not home improvements either.
All right, well, we have, 25 wrecks already this weekend. We haven't even started the race tonight, Darrell. Will we see a wreckorama in this race?
Well, I think so. I mean, the thing about this track, it's real simple to do. It's 367 laps, 500 miles, and you have to be perfect every one of them. One little slip here, you're into the wall. This track is so narrow, the speeds are so high, there's no room for margin for error.
Again, we just simplify this just a little bit.
Take it.
This place is fast, and I mean bad fast. And that's what is going on. The racetrack was not designed to go this fast.
Greg Biffle on the pole, Dale Earnhardt Jr. starting on the front row as well. And this week the buzz around the nation was loudest from Junior Nation and how Kyle Busch kept Dale Earnhardt Jr. winless for what is now 72 races. The incident conjured up memories of Dale Earnhardt Sr. and old school racing. It was high drama and high def.
Oh, he turned it!
No! I wouldn't want to be Kyle Busch right now.
You saw fans shaking their fists.
They better get over there and escort Kyle Busch out of here.
I didn't mean to do it on purpose. Unfortunately, it was Dale Earnhardt Jr. I was in position for a win and got wrecked.
He didn't drive in there and intentionally wreck Junior. That's not what happened.
It's just unfortunate circumstances for him because he didn't get a win, and for me because now I got to put up with it.
Kyle Busch, the points leader, he says, get over it. Darrell, you've been there, you've lived it. Will we see retaliation tonight?
Well, there are a couple things to consider. First of all, they're first and third in the points, so that's a consideration. Tonight, you just raced the track. But let me tell you, folks, this devil doesn't wear Prada. I can tell you that, and we're going to see action tonight between them and a whole bunch of other guys. But you know when I'd get him? If I was going to get him, next week at the All-Star race.
Oh, save it.
No points.
For that. Well, what did Kyle Busch do something wrong? Did he cross a boundary here?
No, he raced him hard. He just picked the wrong guy to be racing hard on that particular night. The thing is, right now, he is an Earnhardt. You watch all of a sudden, he goes off down in the corner, realizes Earnhardt's coming down. His car gets a little loose. They get into each other. And again, the 88 car spun out, got in the wall. It cost him an opportunity to win. But as we're saying, he's an Earnhardt. He says it's all over and said and done. You better watch out.
Yeah, and you never forget what happens to you in a case like that when you're trying to win a race. You haven't won in 2 years.
And Jeff Burton told me he said it wasn't intentional, but his view was that it was Kyle Busch's fault.
Well, I mean, Kyle Busch hit Dale Jr. Dale Jr. spun out, so somebody's got to be at fault. But I got to tell you, it's short track racing at its finest. You got two guys side by side going in a corner. The guy on the outside's in trouble, man. When you're racing hard, you got wheel marks down the left side of your car. When you're not, when you're in the way, you got them down the right side of your car.
And what do you like to say? 8 tires are better than 4.
Yeah.
And again, like you say, Kyle Busch was doing his job. I mean, you can get mad if you want to, but he was trying to win that race.
Yeah, some Junior fans wanted him to act that way like his dad would have.
Junior was a gentleman, a perfect gentleman. I couldn't believe how courteous and kind he was after that race.
75,000 fans here, and Kyle, in introductions, we'll hear it, no doubt.
Oh, yeah, you're going to find out how they feel, and we'll be able to hear it in here. You'll probably be able to hear it down in, probably in
Pretty much sums it up right there. Eliminate Kyle.
Kyle Busch, in his last 47 races, Kyle has won 3, but he's been involved in 15 wrecks, 3 of those involving Dale Earnhardt Jr. We'll see how tonight plays out. Not always easy to see what's around the turn. Night racing here in Darlington, so we shall be your guide. Darrell, a first-hand feel for this new surface on the track some people call too tough to tame. Jeff and Darrell will take you up close. Our thanks to Smitty, too, by the way. Darrell's sidekick for his barbecue at Darlington. But what do drivers like to eat? That's the subject of the hit list. Gas and Go will be off the wall with our guys. We're glad you're with us on the eve of Mother's Day from Darlington.
The Bush brothers, Kyle and Kurt, accompanied by their mother, Gay Bush.
We welcome you back. NASCAR on Fox. Driver introductions with their moms. A select group of mothers with their sons driving in the race tonight. And I like when last week Kyle joked and said, hey, they were calling me number one. Instead, they didn't realize it was just a different finger. The sprint for the Cup, 16 races away from the chase for the championship. Burton Boyer at Harvick. How about Richard Childress Racing? 3 in the top 5. Martin Truex Jr., who made the chase last year, on the outside looking in that top 12. In this week's AutoZone Pit Zone, you could call it Extreme Makeover, the Darlington edition. Jeff Hammond and Darrell Waltrip show us why the Lady in Black never looked better or faster.
Here from the AutoZone Pit Zone, one of the oldest racetracks on the circuit. Buddy, all I got to say is remember where you are. This is Darlington, and she is definitely too tough to tame. Don't let this new makeover fool you. Be careful.
Oh, Jeff, this is so good. No wonder the guys are loving it. There's no issues with this track whatsoever. You got a lot of grip in the tires. The surface is really smooth.
Darrell, this new helmet cam is like riding right there with you.
The thing that they've done is they've made it so good that I think the guys are going to lose respect for where they are. I think they're going to forget that they're in Darlington. I think they're going to try to run this track like they do a lot of other racetracks. This girl is still narrow. It's still slick. There are no lines on the racetrack. Now that could be a real issue tonight.
Well, we know for a fact, lose respect for the lady, and the lady, well, she'll disrespect you.
Greg Biffle said so fast but so close to that wall. And Michael Waltrip, your brother, making his 700th career start, said because of the grip, guys are going to act like Superman out there.
Yeah, I mean, I've heard insanely fast. Insanely fast.
200 miles.
Drivers, you know. So it's fast. This place always been treacherous. They've just made the degree of difficulty go way, way up by the speed.
Well, and when you think about that, right, you think about guys, how good they are here. Jimmie Johnson's won here before, but he had problems yesterday during practice. I mean, look here, coming to turn 3, he's already in the wall in his primary car, serious damage, has to go to backup, and he goes out and he spins that car around, and you think he's going to miss the inside wall? No. But the guys were able to make repairs of this car, and he showed what he was made out of by coming back and qualifying 3rd in that same car.
You know, today, May 10th, and I remember, do you know why that date's an important?
That date.
May 10th?
May 10th.
Yeah.
Take a look.
Quick look here.
1975.
On May
Here
10th.
comes Waltrip. They're coming to the line, and that will be the story. Waltrip wins it. Unbelievable finish here today.
That was the first of many, 84 wins, 3 championships for our analyst here, Darrell Waltrip, and we're all proud for the memories and a memorable place in Darlington.
Yeah, that's my whole family right there. That's my grandmother, who I went to the races with as a little boy, that I said, Grandma, one day I'm going to be a race car driver. And that was my first win at Nashville, Tennessee.
And it touches you. In fact, your brother, Michael, look, he's in the picture here. How old is he here, Darrell? Is he able to even see?
He's about 12. I think he's about 12 years old.
I know you got him spotted, but the guy beside the Reed shirt right there, the guy was standing there, that right there was Dale Jr.'s grandfather,
Robert G.
Real quick, Dick Bergman, his first race that he attended, this is, you may not have seen this video. We were able to pull this out. I'm not sure which one is Dr. Dirt from Speedway Illustrated, but we kid because, well, you know why. We want to welcome those of you who are watching the Brewers and Cardinals. And those of you enjoying Major League Baseball on Fox, one of the games that ran over, we're glad you're with us from Darlington Raceway. There's points leader Kyle Busch. Look, he's playing up to the fans, maybe giving them a hard time about what happened with Dale Earnhardt Jr. We'll see if there's any kind of retaliation tonight. If you have a question for our experts, go to Ask the Pros, built by the Home Depot, foxsports.com. You talk to Tony Stewart, Greg Zipadelli, or Darrell, Larry, Jeff. NASCAR questions, get your answers. Go to foxsports.com/Ask the Pros, and our thanks from the people at Home Depot. And there is Carol, mom of Jeff Gordon, 7-time winner here at Darlington. Brenda, Dale Earnhardt Jr.'s mother, and he's got that Mountain Dew car. Our own DW won a couple of championships in that thing. So it's an old school, new school thing happening here at Darlington. NASCAR on Fox, and we welcome you back to Darlington. If people are digging the Digger t-shirt, this is Jules, one of the good places to eat here. Go to foxsports.com or dwstore.com and pick up not only the Digger t-shirt, but we also have the Little Digger plush toy, stuffed animal, right here. This is available now, and all items must go. And I shill because I care, right? And the coffee cup. There you go. All right. So
nothing like a good cup of coffee. Pop up in the morning with Digger.
It's a good Mother's Day gift. All right. Time for gas and go, and no one knows the contents of these questions. Here we go. You're on the clock, Jeff. Usually in the past, 4 tires, every caution automatically here, right? How will tonight's pit strategy be different with this new surface?
So that strategy right out the doggone window. Tonight you may see guys put on 2, may not even come in at all, and you've never done that before here at Darlington.
Should make it interesting.
Strategy.
All right, Darrell, you won 5 times here at Darlington. What's tougher on drivers, 500 miles here or 600 miles at Lowe's Motor Speedway? That's coming up a couple of weeks on Fox.
They both take the same amount of time. I mean, the thing about tonight is it's going to be a long race because there's going to be a lot of cautions. Next week, 600 miles takes 4 hours. Tonight takes about 4 hours. So I tell you, the night's hardest, though, because it mentally is challenging, very mentally challenging.
That's what I like. Tonight, he said, is harder. All right, Jeff, in the old car, they used to put 2x4s in the door. You've showed us many times, right, to help with that Darlington stripe against the wall. Will we need that with the new car here?
No, we've already got the foam built in there, so it kind of helps hold that out, just like the 2x4s did. You don't need it anymore.
All right. Usually you're foaming at the mouth.
Easiest questions I've ever heard.
All right, Darrell, Clint Boyer was in the right place at the right time, but how good did he race in that race last week, and what do you expect tonight from him?
Oh, I thought he raced great. He started way back in, 31st place, I think it was. He worked himself methodically through the field. He was sitting in a position to take advantage. Those guys having trouble. I'd keep an eye on that guy because he's pretty hot right now, and Childress's cars are running great.
Championship material?
Who thought he would have made the change?
Okay, all right. And Richard
all
Childress
3 Childress cars
are up there. Jeff, for you, Mark Martin has run well. He finished 8th or better in his last 3 races, 3rd place at Richmond last week. Is he the guy who gets DEI a win this season?
I don't think so. I think Mark has the talent. I just don't think he has the team right now to get the job done. I'm sorry. I think they got some work to do.
All right. Darrell, Jeff Gordon won here last year. Do you see him getting his first win of the year tonight? If you had to pick somebody, would he be the guy?
Yeah, I would. I think if Dale Jr. is going to win tonight, he's got to beat Jeff Gordon. Jeff Gordon is very methodical about how he runs this race. You won't talk about him very much. He'll be there at the end.
And on top of that, he's got Ray Evernham already talking to him, and they've won together before. So Steve Letart's saying, what do you think?
A flashback, Ray Evernham and Jeff Gordon.
It's kind of interpreting what they're saying.
Last question for both of you. What did you get your mom for Mother's Day? Jeff, your mom, Nancy, did you get her a present here?
I have got to take some stuff down there. I got some flowers already picked for her. Going to be taking them down there hopefully tomorrow to see her.
And, of course, Margaret, who we saw here at the races last year, happy Mother's Day early.
We got her a really beautiful vase of flowers, spring arrangement with roses and tulips and baby's breath. And it's a beautiful thing. Mom, happy Mother.
Hey, Van did a good job then, didn't he?
That's Van Colley, who's putting out all the Digger t-shirts. And happy birthday, May 14th, your mom's birthday.
Yes, it is. I mean, you're all right.
So fans are wondering about tonight here. Is a driver, in terms of the pavement, the speeds here, they're going to have to be a little bit more controlled, save it for that last stretch?
Restraint. I mean, you have to restrain yourself. You could probably run around here, like qualifying laps, but you'll never make 367 laps. Like I said in the opening, Chris, 367 laps, no mistake, is almost impossible to do here. But whoever does will win.
I want to tell you one other thing, too, we do not want to lose sight of is the fact that engines could be an issue tonight. 500 miles, a lot of speed here that we're not used to seeing could be problems for these engines.
Carl Edwards did not qualify well for this race, but Greg Biffle up front for Ford on the pole. He's won here twice. What kind of shot do you give him tonight?
Well, I give him a huge advantage because he was one of the cars that did the tire test here. So he knows this racetrack better than anyone. He knows the tires better than anyone, and he's already won here a couple of times.
Say twice.
Pretty darn good pick.
We invite you all to play the AT&T Fantasy Racing Challenge. Text in the car number you think is going to win at 2258. Play all season long for your chance to win $31,000 and other great prizes. Darrell, we thank you for stopping by. Have fun up in the play-by-play booth.
Yeah, happy Happy Mother's Day to Stevie, too, my wife.
Oh, yes, of course. She's done a pretty good job. A sold-out track, a Saturday night race before the speed and the sound and the stripes. We pause and reflect.
Please remain standing as the South Carolina Highway Patrol presents our nation's colors. Please welcome Harold Brazington, Harold King of Darlington Raceway, as he delivers tonight's invocation.
Let us pray. Eternal Father, we're grateful tonight for this pleasure, this hours, as we wait on the next NASCAR experience here at the Darlington Raceway. Father, we ask your blessings upon these drivers. They are mighty athletes, Father, as they drive these mighty vehicles, and we pray you'll protect them. And Father, give peace to those that support them. Now, Father, we ask you if you would just share with us for just a moment in silence as we remember those brave souls that was in the line of duty, lost their lives in the Charleston fire. So let us be silent for just a moment. In the name of Jesus, we offer this prayer. Amen.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Julie Roberts as she performs our national anthem.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, they proved through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave.
Let's hear it for Julie Roberts and the 3810 from the 188th Fireway.
Perfect weather conditions. Nice that the drivers' moms are part of the festivities here on the eve of Mother's Day. You're watching NASCAR on Fox. NASCAR Sprint Cup Racing on Fox is sponsored by Sunoco. Fill your car with the fuel of NASCAR. Sunoco, it's what's inside. By Coppertone, the best Coppertone protection from today's sun. By Enterprise Rent-A-Car, we'll pick you up. And by McDonald's, come taste the new Southern-style chicken sandwich. Anything Mom cooks is always a winner, so we linked together some of the drivers and asked them their favorite meal on the hit list. What's your favorite meal?
My mom's spaghetti.
Really?
She makes a killer spaghetti.
And how often do you get to have that?
About twice a year, sometimes 3 times a year.
Do you ever try to do it yourself, cook? Or?
No way, man. No, not happening.
No time for that.
I got 2 left feet in the kitchen.
Chicken and dumplings that my sister makes.
And do you get that on a regular basis?
No,
or?
I can't have it on a regular basis anymore, but she cooks it every once in a while.
Chicken and mashed potatoes.
Okay.
Fried chicken and mashed potatoes, great.
Sounds good.
I love pastas. You know, I love anything that has to do with Italian food.
And are you more of a red sauce, white sauce guy?
I hate to admit it, but I'm more of a white sauce guy.
Why is that a little heavier?
Yeah, they're worse for you, but I love Alfredo sauces and stuff like that.
Chicken wings and beer. That's my splurge.
Is that a guilty pleasure? Or
Yeah.
Okay,
The
so
hotter they are, the better, and that way you get the colder beer to douse it down.
Favorite meal is definitely Mexican food.
And do you have like a ritual before the race that you, or?
And I don't think Mexican would be a good idea before the race. That's one of the foods that I try to eat during the week, yeah.
Silly question. It's good no one said quiche. You said bad fast this track. How fast is it?
Well, let's take a real quick look. You can take a quick look at what the speed was running in 1950 when they first came here. 82 miles an hour. Now that's almost 100 miles an hour quicker today. So, I mean, it gives you a pretty good idea how bad fast it is.
And no restrictor plate, but you have to have, as one crew chief told our Larry McReynolds, a restrictor plate mentality. So it should be entertaining. And now for those magic words, happy Mother's Day, NASCAR style.
Race fans, in honor of Mother's Day weekend, please welcome our very special Grand Marshals, the Sprint Cup Moms, as they deliver the most famous words in motorsports.
We send our Mother's Day wishes to Christine, Bill Richards' mom, Edna, Arnie Kempner's mother, Jennifer, Derek Manning's mother, and your mom out there as well.
Darlington, perhaps the most storied track in our sport. It is NASCAR's Lambeau, it's Wrigley, it's Fenway, and it's a far cry from the way this track looked in 1950 when they first raced here on Labor Day weekend. This ain't no country club, no disco. This is Darlington. Harold Brasington's dream quickly became South Carolina's biggest sporting event, with a beauty pageant, a Sunday parade, and racing on the Monday holiday. Covered grandstand on the front straightaway, open bleachers in the back. Racing on the apron wasn't discouraged. Going over the fence, however, was. That was not a good day for hometown favorite Cale Yarborough, who went on to win here 5 times. Tonight, it's a new Darlington, the same old racetrack shape, but a brand new asphalt surface. And the action, based on last night's nationwide race, we expect will be electrifying. Hi, everybody. Mike Joy, Larry McReynolds, and Darrell Waltrip. And Darrell, last night's drivers barely made it to turn 1.
Yeah, let me just tell you about this place. This joint will give you a headache. And I'm just mean that from you got to focus so hard and you got to concentrate so hard. You got to race the racetrack. It's so narrow and it's fast now. It's really, really, really fast. And that just makes it that much more difficult. So tonight, it's not just about having a fast car and a great crew. You got to stay focused all night long, 367 laps.
The driver's task is a tough one, Larry, but the crew chief has options here tonight. He hasn't had here in years.
No, it used to not be hard to call this race. Anybody could call a race on top of the pit box until this repay, because the bottom line is no matter if you'd run 4 laps or 24 laps, the caution comes out, you get 4 fresh tires. But now I think when we get to the late stages of the race, I think you'll see a lot of strategy. But I do believe this track has already lost a little grip. So I do believe maybe at the end you get those 4 fresh tires, you might prevail.
We have an over-under on the number of caution and red flags we expect tonight. We'll hold those numbers till later on because they're pretty high. Let's have a look at the starting lineup for tonight's race. A Ford Chevy front row, Greg Biffle and Dale Earnhardt Jr. Chevy Toyota in row number 2 with Jimmy Johnson and Tony Stewart. But a lot of the top dozen in the Sprint Cup standings are starting worse than 30th. 5 of the top 12 line up from 32nd on back. So the winner could come from anywhere in this field.
Let me see if I can get Dale Jr. on the radio here, guys, see how he's feeling tonight. Hey, Junebug, it's DW up in the tower, buddy. You got a copy?
Yes, sir.
Man, that car looks so great on the racetrack. How does she feel to you?
It's been great all weekend. Drive-wise, it's been pretty stable. Just been trying to take care of it.
What are you worried about the most tonight, buddy?
Overdriving.
Well, good luck. I know you got a lot on your mind. I'm pulling for you. Love that car, man. To bring her home.
Hi, buddy. I appreciate it.
The paint scheme
road speed right there. Get a good reading here.
On Dale Jr.'s car is reminiscent of the one that Darrell drove to many victories on what was then the Winston Cup circuit. Same sponsor, same colors, same look. Even the same driver's suit.
Now, in the last time that a junior had anything to do with a car like that, it won a lot. So I'm really thinking Junior's got an advantage tonight.
And that was your car owner, Junior Johnson.
Junior Johnson.
Make it a great race day with the perfect balance of flavor and refreshment. Just turn that cap left and enjoy Budweiser, the great American lager.
Let's take a look at the keys of this Lady in Black, a track we call Too Tough to Tame. Give and take. I think that's going to be a big key all night long, especially the first 3 quarters of the race. Lots of give and take needed to make it to the end of this race. And you know what? Simply stay off the wall. If you look, you'll almost see not a car out there that does not have what we call that Darlington stripe. You've got to stay off the wall. And you know what? Darrell mentioned it in the pre-race, 4 hours. Never let your guard down. She'll reach up there and get you.
Yeah, there's just certain places you can pass on this track. If you try to pass anywhere else, you'll wreck. It's that simple. You'll wreck.
There is a dotted white line to differentiate the apron from the racing surface. But Darrell, you lapped the track the other day. Can you really tell the difference between asphalt and apron absent the white line?
Well, you can right now while it's still daylight. The concern I have is tonight when the sun goes down, the lights come up. Can you see where that wall and the track come together?
Yeah, I talked to Jeff Burton. He told me it has always been a problem here since we started racing under the lights, but more so with this blacker asphalt, you cannot differentiate the wall from the racetrack. There's actually a shadow that's there.
Let's get late word from our NASCAR on Fox All-Star pit crew, beginning with Matt Yoakum.
Mike, Jimmy Johnson's hoping that the curse of breaking a mirror doesn't really hold true. He broke the mirror in his race car on Friday, then wrecked twice. But the backup car he's competing with here tonight has a great record. 2 races, 2 second-place finishes. Chad Canals basically said, our strategy, keep Jimmy in the top 10 until the final segment, and then just let the hammer down. Dick?
Tony Stewart won the nationwide race here last night. Desperately wants to win a cup race. This has been one of the toughest tracks for Tony Stewart. Steve Burns.
Dick, when asked about this new pavement, Carl Edwards said, I thought I was going to have to wear black and go to a funeral. They killed my favorite track. However, by the end of the 4th practice yesterday, he said he felt much more at ease, Chris Devoda.
Wholesale changes for the 07 of Clint Bowyer. They changed everything under the race car, all of the parts in the suspension. But they got penalized last week in Richmond, and they won the race. So why not? They were late for tech, but they think they're going to be just fine tonight.
Thanks, folks. We are ready to race. The spring race at Darlington has been held since 1960. Joe Weatherly won the first one.
There you see 500 miles, 367 laps, pit road speed 45 miles per hour. The pit window for Sunoco Racefield 58 to 62 laps. We actually have 7 backup cars in the field, but these 2 happened during qualifying, the 7 and the 9, so they're the ones that have to go to the rear of the field.
And I don't know if you're ever ready to race here or not, but we're going to race.
We're as ready as we're going to be.
That's it. We're going on an adventure.
She's Saturday night, the Lady in Black, Too Tough to Tame. She's going to be fast, fast, fast. Reach up there and pull those belts tight one more time.
Boogity, boogity, boogity. Let's go racing, boys.
An orderly start. Pole sitter Greg Biffle leads the first lap from Dale Jr. by a car length.
I don't think Greg Biffle will lead the second lap, though. Dale Earnhardt Jr. got the good run off turn 4.
Oh, Tony Stewart and Elliott Sadler.
I was just going to say, this is the most treacherous opening first few laps that you go to anywhere on any racetrack.
Caution is out.
Turn 1 down here is absolutely impossible. Guys try to run in there side by side. You can't do it.
And Reed Sorensen spun behind them. You see Sadler as moving again while Stewart now refires and pulls away. Let's watch it coming from turn 4. There's Sadler in the 19.
Tony got real loose in the 20 car off turn 4 that lap.
This right here is classic Darlington. You cannot do it. You can't get in that turn with somebody to your outside. That's what happens every time.
Darrell, Elliott Sadler put the left front tire down on the flat below the white line as he went in that corner.
But Mike, that's just how narrow that turn is. Look, that's 27 feet wide right there. You can't force two cars in there. The guy on the inside has the right of way. The guy on the outside has to lift.
Let's ride with Elliott Sadler.
Coming with you. Outside. Keep it up there if you can, man. Keep it up there if you can. You can, man. Right front, guys, right front.
Tony Stewart giving Sadler a thumbs up and then restarts his car and drives away. Caution very early in Darlington. No surprise.
NASCAR Sprint Cup Racing on Fox is sponsored by the auto parts experts at AutoZone. Get in the zone. AutoZone. By the Ford F-150, built Ford tough. By McDonald's. Come taste the new Southern style chicken sandwich. And by Sprint, welcome to the 2008 NASCAR Sprint Cup Series. Speed is beautiful.
Painting the wall at Darlington's like painting the Golden Gate Bridge. By the time you get all the way around, it's time to start painting again. That area of the wall was completely black after last night's race. Elliott Sadler has had to go to the garage. The upper right front A-frame appeared to be broken. Car had way too much camber. They'll try to fix it and get him back out.
Mike, there's almost a golden rule here. Trust me when I tell you this. Turn one, you don't go in there beside somebody. And that's where we started to utilize the crossover move. You let the guy go in underneath of you hard to get the pass. Then you drive under him in the middle of 1 and 2. That's how that's supposed to work. You just don't go in there on the outside of somebody.
We got a battle for third right now. Got the two Busch brothers, the 2 and the 18, Kurt and Kyle. They just went by Jimmy Johnson in that 48 car. Kurt Busch, I just feel like that Lowe's test earlier in the week is really going to pay dividends for this Penske group.
David Reagan has been into the wall, and or rather J.J. Yaley up in turn number 4. Yaley has been against the wall, so the Darlington stripe count stands at least 4. Elliott Sadler is in the garage. The other car involved in that accident was Tony Stewart. Dick Berggren, how's Tony's car?
It's not very good, Mike. They've got cosmetic damage on the right side, also in the left front corner. The bracket on the right front corner of the splitter is gone, and Tony said the toe is incorrect by 1.5 inches. They got a lot of work to do.
Also in the lap 2 caution, David Rudiman got into the wall, and so did the 28 of Travis Kvapil.
I just don't believe that car's that bad, Mike. I tell you, he's passing cars. They get a chance to work on it again. I don't think he's out of business.
Tell you what, Greg Biffle is starting to reel back in Dale Earnhardt Jr. Remember, Dale Earnhardt Jr. came in here third in the points. He has now led a lap in all but 2 races this year. For every race he leads a lap in, that's 5 bonus points for him.
And he is in the absolute A position out front. That's the safest place to be.
This is the first time that Earnhardt has led at Darlington in the last 5 races here.
Mike, I think this supports what you asked me at the top of our show is about the tires here. Right now, everyone just ran basically the fastest lap of their race so far, the last lap. It's like the tires just don't give up here.
Well, here's the other thing too, Larry. I think this track will get better and better. 45 just got in the wall over there, guys.
Second time.
Pretty hard.
Petty. This
pretty hard.
Right side, guys.
This was the hard one. Kyle was so looking forward to this race. Darlington is one of the few tracks where his grandfather, Lee Petty, raced. His father, Lee Petty, won, and where Kyle has also got to race here for some 20 years.
The man on the move right there, boys. No big surprise. Here comes that 18 car. Indiana Jones is looking for the lead.
The Busch brothers were introduced together with their mom. Many of the drivers' moms came out for driver introduction. And here's what happened to Kyle Petty.
Just got loose off 2, slapped the wall.
And you know, the problem with this racetrack, and we've been talking about it all during the pre-race, it was resurfaced. It has a tremendous amount of grip. The cars are fast. You're back in the throttle real early in the corner, and you're carrying so much speed off the corner. Now Sam Hornish has been in the wall in 77. The caution is out.
Listen, this is going exactly like I thought it would go.
55 is your last one. Come on down.
And for this, right now at this point in the race, Mike, because the track's been laying here all day in the hot South Carolina sun, it's a little slicker than I think these guys anticipated. They're sliding around a little bit more than I think they thought they were going to. They're going to have to get down. The sun's going to have to go down. It's going to have to cool off a little bit before they can go good hard racing.
Look at these walls. They were all white and lettered at the start of the race. They'll all be black by the time it's done. That's called the Darlington Stripe. And the number of cars that have gotten a Darlington Stripe in just these first 12 laps, 7.
See what happened to the 77 here. No, by the way, our leader, he scraped the wall somewhere. Dale Jr.'s car's got the right side scraped up. Ooh.
And you know what makes this tough for the 77 car? Remember that each week the top 35 in owner points are locked into the show. We're headed to Lowe's Motor Speedway in 2 weeks for the Coca-Cola 600. He comes in here 35th in owner points.
Problem.
So he may have to qualify on time when we get to the Coca-Cola 600 in 2 weeks.
His right front looks a lot like Elliott Sadler's did after meeting the turn 1 wall.
Make sure you got brakes. Make sure you got brakes.
Both right side tires down. A lot of damage in the front. And look at Dale Jr.'s car. Some of that green isn't anymore.
Well, how you know is look at the tires. That's how you know that one of these cars has been up against a fence or not, because they don't have any Goodyear on the side of the tire.
I don't think we'll see any of the guys at the front of the pack come in here at lap 12. Again, you can run about 58 to 62 laps. But now right here, there's the commitment line. Basically right there, you'll see a few cars at the back start to hit the pit road.
Pit stops for cars in the second half of the lead pack as we're under caution for the second time. Ready for a Claret and Clear restart? Get Claret and Clear. Get the feeling like yourself again. 15 laps complete this time by 2 caution flags tonight. Dale Earnhardt Jr. leading Greg Biffle, Kyle and Kurt Busch, and Jimmy Johnson.
You know how you can tell these tires are pretty hard? Did you hear them squealing when they took off on that restart? You got a lot of grip in the track and a pretty hard tire. They'll squeal like that.
And we had 14 cars, mainly cars at the back of the field, that made a pit stop. A lot of them making a lot of adjustments, like that 20 car who's trying to get their toe out adjusted.
Kyle Petty has just gone to the garage as Biffle looks low on Dale Jr. for the lead, and here comes Wild Thing. Kyle Busch in the 18 coming to the front, passes Dale Jr. for second.
Well,
passes Biffle for second and goes after Dale Jr. for the lead.
This is what everybody's standing up for right now, because they want to see how these two are going to handle each other. After last Saturday night, there's a lot of things on both drivers' minds.
And again, if you were not tuned in last Saturday night or you wasn't watching the pre-race, these two guys got together with less than 10 laps to go, spun Dale Earnhardt Jr. out. They're side by side at the start-finish line. Kyle Busch will take the lead away. There was the give and take right there.
Did you see what he did, Dale Jr.? He lifted in the middle of the straightaway to give Busch the line into turn 1, because he knows you can't do that.
Biffle got a really good run through the middle of 3 and 4 that time. He's going to bring Kurt Busch with him. They'll probably get the position away from Dale Earnhardt Jr. before they get down to turn 1.
Well, here's what happens. You get kind of freight trained here, except you're on the outside. Once you get pushed up and cars start going by you on the inside, you got to find a hole to get back in.
All right, let's go to the garage where Steve Burns is with Elliott Sadler.
Mike, a lot of work going on this number 19 Dodge of Elliott Sadler's. Elliott, what happened there on the start of the race, and can they fix your car?
Well, we're going to try to fix it, and I just made a huge mistake. I got too far down under the white line, actually trying to give Tony more room, and I just slid up into him. So I want to apologize to all the McDonald's people here, and I want to apologize to all the Tony Stewart fans. I know he's pretty mad at me, but it's nothing I did intentional. I've never had any problems with him, and surely don't want to start him tonight. Just a rookie mistake that I shouldn't have made.
All right, thank you, Elliott. Mike, he says they're going to try and get back out and turn some laps here.
Thanks, Steve. He is now joined in the garage by Kyle Petty.
Yeah, and I think Elliott's been a little hard on himself. I know he did get down on that apron getting in there, but that's not that you do that a lot here. I think you got to give and take getting in that corner too.
Tell you what, Wild Thing, Kyle Busch, that 18 car, he has put her in the wind. He just ran his fastest lap of the race a lap ago. Look at the distance he's already put on Greg Biffle in the 16.
You know, I've seen guys check out like that here, but it doesn't last. You can't run this thing like you're qualifying every lap. You got to save a little something.
He's opened up a big lead, Krista.
Big indeed, Mike. In fact, Steve Addington just told him on that last lap he was 2 tenths faster than the rest of the field. Kyle's car is just a little bit loose right now, but they know the track is going to tighten up. And by the way, when that caution came out on lap 1, Kyle said, "Oh, this is fun."
So far, so good. Juan Montoya has been into the wall and kept on going.
Let me tell you something. This is one of those nights when Steve Addington has his work cut out for him. I'm not talking about putting tires on that car. I'm talking about trying
Every time I open the gas.
I'm talking about trying to slow that boy in that 18 car down, because he can't run like he's running all night and last. You just don't do that here. I'm not saying you got to drive like you're on a Sunday drive, but you got to save a little something and not run wide open.
Last night in the Nationwide Series race, Kyle Busch was a contender, but crashed on lap 100, finishing 31st.
But you know, we had the privilege of sitting down with Joe and J.D. Gibbs this afternoon, and we all concluded the problem they have with Kyle Busch is actually a great problem to have, trying to slow somebody down. But they're right. Right now, he is running like 28.20s, and the closest thing to him is Greg Biffle in second. The 16 car just ran a 28.50.
How about the second place car, Matt?
He says the car's a little bit on the tight side and the sun is setting. He says that's pretty good at this juncture of the race. And Biffle told me that this place seems to him to be a little more like Charlotte than Darlington. To the fact that you've got so much grip, you've got grip, and then instantly it goes away. So therefore, if you have a mistake tonight, you'll feel even bigger impact. So tonight, you really have to be patient and really up on the wheel.
Yeah, the old lady in black, she's out there snickering right now. These old boys don't know that this is still Darlington. I got them right where I want them.
She may have a facelift, but she's still the same.
She's going to reach out and touch somebody here before long.
Same attitude.
Another patient in the garage, Dr. Burns.
Thank you, Mike. The number 77 literally wiped off the side of Sam Hornich's car. Sam, what put you back here in the garage, and can you get back out on the racetrack?
I think we blew it out of right front tire. We just went down into turn 3, and the car never turned. It felt like the front end just dropped down and hit the ground, and it's unfortunate, but I'm really proud of the guys in the Mobil 1 Dodge. We've got a couple stripes so far this weekend, and they've worked really hard to get the car back out there and run it, and they're going to work hard on it right now. We need as much points as we can get, and it's a shame because we go to places and we feel like we can really run good there, and we have issues like we did today, and we'll get around it one of these days.
Thank you, Sam.
Yeah, Sam ran really good last night in the Nationwide race. I think he finished 12th, 14th on the lead lap.
A big key last night, just survive it.
Yeah.
11th place, Martin Truex, as Chris told you earlier, just one spot outside the 12 cars that will chase for the Nextel Cup. And David Reagan battling with Dave Blaney's number 22.
In Martin Truex Jr., we've been here for 2 days before today practicing. The one car was one of the better cars throughout all those practices. I talked to Kevin Mannion, his crew chief, earlier today. A little confused the car didn't drive as good qualifying, but he's definitely been marching to the front. He started back in 22nd. He's about to crack the top 10. He's back in 11th.
Kyle Busch has opened up a 3-second lead on pole sitter Greg Biffle. Older brother Kurt Busch in third. Dale Jr., Jimmy Johnson, the front five.
NASCAR Sprint Cup Racing on Fox is sponsored by Budweiser. Reach for the perfect balance of flavor and refreshment. Budweiser, the great American lager.
34 laps complete, no change in the top 10 at Darlington, South Carolina. Here's our aerial coverage provided by Goodyear for track-tested technology. Get there on Goodyear innovation. There is the big end of Darlington Raceway, now turns 1 and 2. The small end is 3 and 4. The track is somewhat egg-shaped.
And Mike, it doesn't matter how big a lead you get. Once you get into traffic, it all goes away. Right now, Kyle Busch is trying to get around Juan Pablo Montoya. He can't do it. And look, there's Biffle caught up to him. He had a 3-second lead, and the other guys are not too far behind.
And that 07 of Clint Boyer, he just put him a lap down. In fact, he put Boyer a lap down, who's in the top 12 in points, and he's working on 2 other cars just in front of him, Ryan Newman and Tony Stewart, that come in here in the top 12.
One thing I see on that 18 car that I do not like, glowing red rotors here at Darlington. That's not a good thing. That means he's using a lot of brake.
He called into the pits and said the brakes are junk.
I could see why.
Well, Larry, 5 of the drivers that came in here in the top 12 in the Sprint Cup standings started 32nd or worse tonight. And with a long green flag run, they stand the risk of getting lapped.
And Mike, a lot of those guys like Newman, and of course we know the problems that Tony Stewart had, Clint Boyer, a lot of them, they've been to pit road, both cautions that we've had. And that's one thing I'm a little afraid also. You got to make your car better, but you get stuck in the back, I think you're going to be stuck in the back.
Yeah, well, I'm telling you, it's just amazing. Kyle Busch was flying around this joint, just pulling away from everybody. He's caught up to Juan there, and he can't get around him, and it's pulling all these other guys right back up to him.
He's backed his lap times down to a 30 flat, while some of the fast cars are running 0.4 of a second quicker.
And that just tells you how hard it is to pass here, Mike.
I tell you what, Robbie Gordon in the 7 car, a big tip of the hat, yeah, to Robbie, but to Walter Giles and that crew. Robbie wrecked twice yesterday, and he wrecked once qualifying. They sent the first car he wrecked back to Charlotte, North Carolina to repair, and they got that car back down here, started at the rear, and he's already working back up to 23rd. Now we got a battle for the lead with Greg Biffle back up on Kyle Busch, I think a lot because of that traffic.
Yeah, he got real bad loose off of turn 2 over there. Kyle did, and it allowed Biffle to really close up and almost pass him. Juan is just giving Kyle a tough time. He cannot get around him. He can get to him, but he can't get around him.
And just ahead of Montoya, Reed Sorensen and Busch's teammate Tony Stewart.
What's the 18 off turn 2 over here? This is how he almost spun this thing out. Well, wait a minute. No, there he goes.
It's in the fence. And Biffle takes the lead.
Well, he's been asking for this for the last couple of laps. I mean, I think he got really frustrated running in behind Juan Pablo there. And watch him off turn 2 over here, Mike. Car gets really out of shape. Right there, steps out on him, and that allows Biffle to really close. And now he's been in the wall in turns 4. Slightly.
But Darrell, you mentioned it. Look at the rotors glowing on that 18 car. Definitely some brake issues, and we're only 40 laps into it.
Both fenders.
Kyle Busch telling Steve Addington that he did get into the wall and a little right side damage, front and rear.
Brian Vickers has bounced off the wall, keeps going.
You know what I'd do to him? I'd bring him in and pull a plug wire off. And
Talking about the 18.
Yeah, the 18. And then I'd put it back on right near the end of the day.
And this is a
That'd
battle
slow him down.
Third right here between Dale Earnhardt Jr. and the 88 car and Kurt Busch in the 2. And while they've been racing, you see the 5th place car of Jimmy Johnson in the 48 coming up there.
How about Dale Jr., Matt?
Team cars running 4th, 5th, and 6th, but they're all experiencing a little bit different in the handling department. Dale Earnhardt Jr. says his car right there off turn 2 is especially tight. Meanwhile, Jimmy Johnson's closing in because his car is gone to the free side. And just out of our shot is the 7-time Darlington winner, Jeff Gordon. And he says his car, which was good down in 1 and 2, but tight off 3 and 4, is now tight everywhere and getting tighter.
And I don't think we can say enough about Jimmy Johnson, Chad Knaus, and that group because of wrecking twice yesterday, going to a backup car, and went out there and qualified 3rd. And again, the reason that they didn't have to go to the rear of the field like some others, it happened before qualifying.
Well, I like Darrell's idea because we have seen races at Darlington where a driver would call in and say, I've dropped a cylinder, and his lap times would get better.
I'm not sure that'll happen on this fresh asphalt because she's got so much grip. I'm not sure that'd be the way to go now.
Well, when you're 2 or 3 tenths quicker than everybody else, and and you just run the wheels off the thing, you need to slow the cat down some way. He won't do it. You got to do it for him.
Greg Biffle leads Kyle Busch by 0.8 of a second, 44 laps into the Dodge Challenger 500.
You're watching NASCAR on Fox.
NASCAR on Fox welcomes you back to Darlington County and this unique 1.36 mile oval that has tested NASCAR's drivers since 1950. 52 laps in, and Greg Biffle, the pole sitter, who has 2 wins here and has finished in the top 15 of 6 of his 7 Darlington appearances, has a handy lead over Kyle Busch. It's now up to 2.8 seconds.
Yeah, his car is really working well. I don't see any problem with it whatsoever, and I don't think it's been in the fence at all either. The right side looks clean. Doing a good job.
And he just put Bill Elliott, 5-time Darlington winner in that 21 car, a lap down, and while we were away, he put Tony Stewart and Reed Sorensen in the 41 car a lap down.
You know, I bet the way we practiced down in the high 27s, low 28s. But these guys are surprised they're running 30-second laps around here. Slow down a couple of seconds.
The thing about it, we're getting within about an 8 to 10 lap window of all the guys at the front that have not been to pit road. Remember, the pit window for Sunoco Race Fuel somewhere around 58 to 62, 64 laps.
And this is a tough pit road to get onto, buddy. I tell you, it's dirty and sandy. You got to be careful coming down off that banking.
A change at third position while we were in break. Jimmie Johnson up to third, then Kurt Busch, Dale Jr., Jeff Gordon, Kevin Harvick, and Scott Riggs having an outstanding run in the early going here. In eighth, ahead of Bobby Labonte and Jeff Burton.
The thing about it, Scott Riggs qualified well, and this is a backup car. He's one of the guys that crashed on Thursday, and we talked about being hard to pass. Right now, when you look at the top 10, 8 of them started in the top 10, and that's where they're staying, including like Bobby Labonte in the 43, who qualified 10th, running 9th right now.
That may be why about 85%, I think it is, of the winners come from the top 10 here, most all the time.
Jeff Burton, who swept both the spring and fall races in 1999, running in 10th. The Labor Day race was a fixture on the NASCAR schedule until just a couple of years ago. It was moved to California, where here's Matt.
Greg Biffle should be pitting in about 4 to 5 laps while the 0-1 is on pit road. It's impressive, besides the fact he won the pole with a new track record, Mike, the fact the side of the 16 has been clean all weekend. And Biffle will tell you, the Fab guys back in his now called Nationwide Series days, when he ran the 60 car, they took a die-cast car, beat the side of it with a hammer, then tie wrapped it to the roll bar just to remind him to save the right side of the car because he was always hanging out. And getting a Darlington stripe didn't matter where he was racing, and he's learned that lesson well, and it showcased that talent here this weekend.
Pit stops begin with Jeff Burton, the 10th place car. Larry, is this just a little early?
Not really, Mike,
okay,
because I think a lot of people, because of the way the pace has changed, didn't have a great field, Dick, so I think that's why they're coming to pit road now, plus to get those 4 tires.
Yeah, might as well, because that's cars you're not going to have to pass. And the number 31 of Jeff Burton said he can't drive off. The car is a bit tight, so they're going to try to fix that on this pit stop. First of the good cars to pit.
4 more coming in behind him as green flag pit stops begin at lap 58. Joe Nemechek is in, A.J. Allmendinger, Michael McDowell, Brian Vickers in the pit lane, Bobby Labonte, and a couple more, Dave Blaney.
You know, Mike, normally you put new tires on, Larry. That would be when the car would probably be at its best, and I'm sure the speeds will pick up some with new tires, but with this tire the way it is, it takes about 5 or 6 laps for it to really get going good. So the most uncomfortable you're going to be is right after a pit stop.
Jimmie Johnson is the first of the top 5 cars to pit. Let's check with Krista.
The 18, Kyle Busch, is in. They want to pull out that right front fender, some damage on the right side. The crew comes around to the left side to change the tires there. Kyle said tight off both turns. That is his major issue. There goes Kyle Busch.
And the leader pits. Greg Biffle is in. Here's Matt.
Johnson already in his box a year ago. He would have had to really had a hard left into his stall, but when they redid pit road, they've already made the track bar adjustment. When they redid pit road, they changed the angle. Finally gets the lug nuts on. Long stop for Johnson. He's away. Meanwhile, the 16 of Biffle is on pit road right before the stop. He said his car was plowing tight, calling for a chassis, also air pressure adjustment. The 88 of Dale Earnhardt Jr. in his stop as well. Jr. said his car was tight, coming around to the left side of Biffle's team. Solid stop so far for the Biff. Left sides are on. 13, 14, a little hang up on the left rear, and he's away. Jr. away as well.
Kurt Busch got to lead a lap, and now Travis Kvapil one of several cars with a retro paint scheme, takes over the lead. Dick Bergman.
Well, Kurt Busch, Mike, has had a tough year so far. Hasn't had a top 10 since Daytona, but he qualified 5th. The car has gotten increasingly tight on that run. They have adjusted it for that condition. Busch having a good run tonight.
And there is Kvapil driving a paint scheme with a sponsor made famous by Fred Lorenzen back in the 1960s here.
Now, fuel-wise, Travis Kvapil can go a little bit further than some of these guys. Now, he didn't pit on the second caution, but Travis Kvapil did pit on that first caution, so he can run a few laps further.
I think it's interesting. That's the car, the paint job on there that was very dominant here in the 60s. Bill Elliott's got a car that's very dominant paint job on the 21 car that was here in the 70s. And no, Dale Jr.'s got a car that's got the retro paint job from the 80s. So we got them all. We got 10 years either they covered.
But there we almost saw with Travis Kvapil, the 28, what you were talking about. You get down on that apron, it's slick. You're carrying a lot of speed. He almost spun that thing.
He did.
Kvapil is in for his stop, and Matt Kenseth takes over the lead.
48 had a hard time getting on pit road too. Like I noticed him, one of those cars that pitted already. Watch how much trouble he has trying to get down on the pit lane. He's way outside the commitment line there. Gets in right at the last second.
Barely got in, barely. But now Matt Kenseth in the 17 car, he did pit on lap 13 under the second caution, so we know Sunoco fuel-wise, he can go quite a bit further than those guys that just made the stop. Problem, tire-wise, he's going to be quite a bit slower right now.
Kenseth started 22nd in the standings.
Well, I'm looking at cars that have already stopped and got tires. Dale Jr. 29, 19, 19. And Kenseth's only a 29.42, so we don't see that big second or two difference in new tires that we normally see.
Steve Burns is in Kenseth's pit.
Well, Mike, as Larry Mack said, Matt Kenseth pitted back on lap 13. They made an air pressure adjustment on the last stop. They also took 4 tires. See service to the right side of the car. No adjustments that we can see right now on that 17 for Matt Kenseth from Roush Fenway Racing.
Ryan Newman has also made a stop. Casey Kane takes over the lead.
Casey made his first laps in this race car when they dropped the green flag because he, like Robbie Gordon, crashed qualifying. So he went from the back of the field to at least leading the race. Denny Hamlin, the 11 car, who had pitted on one of those earlier cautions, he's now on pit road. But J.J. Yaley in the 96 car, who also pitted on lap 13, he now led a lap.
Matt?
Whoa.
And the 11 of Denny Hamlin, remember, pitted back on lap 13, took on 4 tires. Chassis adjustment again for Hamlin. You can see the catch cam man positioning the wrench in the back window, then we'll reach over. That's multitasking at its finest right there. Solid stop so far, clean of the grill, and Hamlin is away, lap 68.
And I think Denny Hamlin has a good race car, but what happened to Denny Hamlin? He crashed qualifying the Nationwide Series car, and when he went out to qualify his Sprint Cup car in the next qualifying session, he was just way conservative, and I think he just didn't get a great lap in.
Patrick Carpentier, who had that great qualifying run and got knocked around like a pinball during one of those backstretch dust-ups at Richmond, is the new leader. And Ryan Newman will have a pit pass-through penalty for a tire violation on his pit stop.
And I think he just missed the entrance to pit road. He didn't get on pit road trying to come through to do that. So he's really adding insult to injury.
And I'm pretty sure what that tire violation will be. NASCAR, they have a new rule in 2008 that the right side tires, they have to be in touch with the tire carrier to get back to the wall. You can't roll them. They have to stay in touch. So now his problems escalate because he's definitely going to be more than a lap down with these 2 problems.
So these are the first laps that Patrick Carpentier has led this season, and he'll surrender that lead.
Now,
to come to pit road.
Pat, he gets off on the back straightaway. He's not going to take a chance on missing pit road. Although it's treacherous down there, it's real dirty and sandy, he's going to make it on pit road without a problem.
But you know, Mike, what's so important for drivers like the 10 car, J.J. Yaley, to lead that lap. We talked about getting 5 points. That's guys that's back there battling to get to the top 35. Those 5 points could be important for them.
Absolutely.
Especially when you got one of the guys that's on the fence, the 77 of Hornish, in the garage.
The next new leader is David Gilliland. as he waves by cars with fresher tires, and he will come to pit road after picking up 5 bonus points.
And it looks like once this cycles all the way through, we still have Reed Sorensen in the 41 car that is now leading. It looks like Kyle Busch in the 18 car. We see Reed coming to pit road now, the target car. It looks like Kyle Busch, the 18 car, maybe did a little better job getting on pit road than Greg Biffle. So now he's got the lead. Biffle back in second. Earnhardt Jr. third.
Kyle Busch's lead is not much. It's 0.3 of a second. As Sorensen comes to the pit lane, we've completed 71 laps, just under 300 to go. You're watching NASCAR on Fox. Tonight's Ford Drive One moment takes you back to 1965, 63-4. That's Fred Lorenzen. When Ford Motor Company sponsored cars, they put local dealers on the side who participated, like Lafayette Ford in Fayetteville, North Carolina. The same family owns Lafayette Ford today, and they saw Yates racing with an unsponsored car and said, well, when you come to Darlington, we'll do our part. So they are Kloppel's sponsor. Ford Drive One.
And you know what, Mike? Travis started back in the 24th position. He has worked his way up to the 12th spot. And the big thing about this car that's been unsponsored so much this year is right now they come in here sitting in the top 20 in points and 19th. In fact, both the Yates cars are 19th and 20th in the top 20.
See that 358 CID on the hood? That's the engine displacement. NASCAR used to require you to display that on the hood of the car because you had a choice of a big block or small block engine during some of those years.
That was a familiar voice I heard on the radio.
Todd Parrott, the crew chief, who's won races here.
He's won here before with Dale Jarrett, and his dad was my crew chief back in the Gatorade days. Buddy.
And now Greg Biffle draws a bead on Kyle Busch yet again. They're within a quarter second. Traffic ahead. Michael Waltrip. Here comes Biffle.
Darrell, I believe Kyle Busch has a good fresh tire car. Biffle has a good long haul car.
It sure looks that way, and I'd say that that's that advantage Biffle has maybe on doing the tire test here.
But Krista, Biffle,
they make a lot of long runs.
Kyle's major complaint seems to be with that middle pedal.
That would be correct, Mike. The brake pedal, that is Kyle's current issue. In fact, there's a little bit of a conference that's been going on top of his pit box down here in the 18 pit. Team manager Jimmy Makar kind of sprinted down, came up on the pit box to talk to crew chief Steve Addington. Kyle said he has no brakes. He's getting killed in 3 and 4, and he's tight.
And I think what sometimes race team they get sucked into is because this is considered a speedway. You come here with a fairly small brake package. And I think the speeds they're running here, they're probably using more brake than they anticipated, Darrell. And there's not enough brake there possibly on that 18 car.
I think you're probably right, Larry. And I don't imagine they have a lot of air going to them either. I mean, you try to run as little as brake duck as you can get away with. That may be a problem as well.
The driver who had the best view of Kyle Busch's brakes is the driver right behind him. That's Greg Biffle. Matt's in his pit.
And Joel Edmonds, who's Biffle's spotter, was telling Greg just a few laps ago, he said the 18 of Busch, he's showing so much more brake heat than we are. Just keep doing what you're doing. And Biffle says his car is still a tick on the tight side, but not bad as he looks to take the lead again.
Greg Biffle to the bottom. There are the glowing brakes of Kyle Busch.
A really comfortable car to drive, and a car that I would want to have this way at this racetrack is that little bit tight. I'd want it a little tight.
Now from our telemetry, looks like he's off the brake at most of the time at that end of the speedway.
He used just a little bit over there in the middle of turn 2. Turn 2 is like 2 turns. You really got to woe the car down right in the middle of turn 2.
You generally don't use any brake here other than entering both corners, and should be off the brake at that point. So maybe a little hard braking into turns 1 and 3.
No turnability, none, 0 steering wheel.
And Darrell, when you've got a car that's not turning, that may lead you to even use more brakes to make the car take a set and turn.
One way to turn and slow it down.
You see him on and off the throttle. They're modulating the throttle to get through the corner without getting up and into the wall.
Yeah, that's normal here, particularly off of turn 2. The car wants to get pushy loose over there, so you really work the throttle like you're almost on a dirt track.
You know, we've not run that many night races here. I just don't think you should see rotors glowing at Darlington. I don't think we should see that. I don't see it on any other race cars.
No. Race for 13th place, Scott Riggs, Casey Mears.
And I tell you what, Casey Mears is another one of those cars, has had a good race car all week long. In fact, he was the fastest car in one of the practice. Car just did not have a good feel for him. Started back in 29th, Krista, and he's working his way toward the top 10.
That's right, Larry Max, steadily climbing, and this is a team that needs some points. They've gotten themselves out of that kind of top 35 bubble position, but then trouble last week in Richmond kind of knocked them back into the danger zone a little bit. But you're right, started 29th, currently up as high as they were running 14th. They're currently running, 14th still. His car had been just a little bit tight, getting tighter as the run goes on.
And I think that was a fear, and we started seeing that in practice, is even though the track has a lot of grip with the new asphalt, the more rubber that gets put down, the turnability, the front wheels start sliding, and I think we're going to hear that and see that all night long.
Kyle Busch continues to lead. He's now half a second in front of Greg Biffle, with Dale Jr. third, Kevin Harvick and Jeff Gordon. You're watching NASCAR on Fox.
I'm driving to win today, baby. You're watching NASCAR on Fox.
Shoe Big Red, proud sponsor of Juan Pablo Montoya. By Napa Auto Parts, Napa, get the good stuff. And by Allstate, are you in good hands? 93 laps in at Darlington, make that 94 in time for an AT&T race break. Jeff Hammond, Chris Myers from the Hollywood Hotel. When Kyle Busch was born, Darlington, the track was already 35 years old. Busch came in leading only one lap in his 3 previous Darlington races. But Jeff Hammond, Darrell's addressed the pace at this track, the way he's running, currently holding off Greg Biffle and leading. How long can he hold this pace up?
Well, that's the whole thing about this racetrack. You attack it like he's doing right now, and normally what's going to happen is you're going to go over that edge and it's going to cost you dearly. And that's what Darrell's trying to tell him. Back it off a little bit, young man. Let somebody else lead for a while. Quit trying to run that ragged edge. He clearly has a very fast race car.
Bobby Labonte has slipped back to 11th, just behind Kurt Busch, finalizing that new contract with Petty Enterprises.
Well, it's good to see him finally get that put away, and it looks like it's reflecting on his run so far tonight. He's been up there around the top 10, and you got to realize this is a smart race car driver, and this is a racetrack he should be really good at. And again, the 43 car has been pretty good at Darlington in years past.
We make much of Dale Earnhardt Jr.'s streak, but Kevin Harvick hasn't won a race in 45 races. He has been running at the finish of his last 54 races, the longest current streak, and quietly he's worked his way up there at 4th.
Again, surprisingly enough, Kevin Harvick has not run that well here at Darlington, but tonight he's up there in 4th position, and he's completed all but 2 laps during this entire season. Again, the consistency is what you need if you're going to try to win a championship. And right now, Kevin Harvick and RCR are clearly on a path right now to make it into the chase and possibly contend for that championship.
And here are the top 4 car numbers picked by our viewers to win today's race. You can watch our pre-race coverage each week to play. It's been an AT&T race break. And Mike, speaking of Richard Childress Racing, the last time he had a winning car here at Darlington was 1994, and that driver was Dale Earnhardt.
Thanks, Chris. 98 laps coming up on 100, 2:69 to go. Kyle Busch's lead, half a second over Greg Biffle. Dale Jr. 5.4 seconds off the lead. Then Kevin Harvick and Jeff Gordon. That's Sam Hornish down on the inside. He is back in the race after repairs, leaving just Kyle Petty and Elliott Sadler in the garage. And here comes Biffle. He wants the lead again.
What made Dale Sr. so good here was that he could manhandle a car. He had good car control, and he had rawhide a car around here. Now, Kyle Busch does the same thing, but he doesn't have the experience that Dale had when he was doing that, so that's the only thing I worry about for him.
Earnhardt won 9 times here, second only to David Pearson.
Earnhardt loved this joint because he just liked, you know, that old saying, he liked to let the rough side drag, and he could do it here.
And you know, when he was really in this prime here, when we used to run that old bi-ply tire here, of course we run radials now, but buddy, he'd let her slide around on the bi-ply.
Smoke all 4 tires. One of the few people that could do it.
There's a telling statistic. Kyle Busch has led 52 laps tonight. In his first 3 starts here, only 1.
Yeah, this hadn't been a real good track for him as far as finishing goes.
You know, we were talking about Travis Kvapil a while ago, who had moved up to 12th. Just since we talked about him, as we're watching right now, though, a battle for 5th between Jeff Gordon and Martin Truex Jr., but not far behind them is Travis Kvapil, who has now moved up to the 8th position in that 28 car.
Travis likes that paint job. It's paying off for him.
That's Joe Nemechek in the 78 with the one of Truex alongside. Travis Kvapil behind this group in 8th. Steve?
And Mike, watching the lap times, the team led by crew chief Todd Parrott is telling him he's running with the leaders. He just ran a 30-18, and as you said, he's gone from 12th to 8th in a matter of laps in that old school paint job.
Well, you know, Daryl mentioned Todd Parrott, who I worked with at Yates Racing, and Todd understands this place. We talked about racing the racetrack. Todd just wants to keep this 28 car in touch with the leader, let the laps wind down, and be in position at the end.
In his view, Larry, it's too early to race.
Way too early. You're racing the lady in black right now.
Race the track.
But you can see he's running down Jimmy Johnson now in the 48 car. Jimmy's in the 7th position. So the Travis Kvapil, they've got a good long running car here, because we've not been under caution since lap 15 when we had the last restart.
Kvapil is the 2nd Ford in the race. Greg Biffle in 2nd place behind the leading Toyota of Kyle Busch. If you've got a NASCAR question, anything you want to know pops into your mind, join our growing panel of experts at Ask the Pros, built by the Home Depot on foxsports.com. It's open 24/7. Just go to foxsports.com/askthepros. Greg Biffle to the front on Kyle Busch.
I think once again you see lap traffic is a big factor in this pass. 40 car got up against a fence.
Yeah, Sterling Marlin there slowed up Kyle's momentum, and here comes Biffle.
And what's interesting about when he got by him is we are now within about a 5 to 10 lap window of what will be green flag stops again. We've almost run 100 laps without a caution.
I think the last time we were here at the end of a pit run, they cars would be running in the 33, almost 34-second lap around here. Tonight we're at a 30-0, so they're still a good 3 seconds faster than we normally race here.
Robbie Gordon on pit road, and this an unscheduled stop as he coasts in. We're told from the pits it's a battery problem
going under the hood
for Robbie Gordon. Fifth place right here.
Robbie has had a rough week in that 7 car. But yeah, Darryl, you talk about the race pace. Remember, 41 of our 43 cars broke the old track record.
And unlike in the past, Larry, here where the tires just wore out and the car slowed down so much, these tires are not slowing down all that much.
Brian Vickers in. Scheduled stop. Michael Waltrip as well.
Yeah, Michael was one of the first cars in the first rash of green flag stops to come to pit road.
Larry, we talked at the top of the night where we might see some 2-tire pit stops, but that has not yet been the case.
Well, it's like Tony Eury Jr. told me, the crew chief for Dale Earnhardt. He said, I'm going to base a lot of my tire strategy on my Sunoco fuel I'm putting in the car. If I'm going to get 2 cans of fuel, I'm going to get me 4 tires. And of course, you make a long run here, they're slowing down about 2 seconds. You're absolutely going to get those 4 fresh Goodyear tires.
Jeff Burton is in. Dick?
Yeah, he's just having a hard time. Jeff Burton is in the 31 car coming off the corner, Mike. That has been his big problem. He's not been happy with the chassis on that automobile all night long. He did run the nationwide race last night, got into the fence a couple times, asked him how he did it, shrugged his shoulders and said he wasn't sure. But he did say it was going to be hard staying out of the fence tonight. So far, everybody's done a pretty good job of doing it, though.
Yeah, last night his car was really, really bad tight. And he was really had a lot of wheel in it coming off turn 4, the front bit, and the car just jumped sideways, and man, he hit the inside wall here on the front straightaway hard last night.
You know, we're riding with Jeff Burton in the 31 car, lost the points lead last week in Richmond, but we're here at race number 11 of the 2008 season. Jeff Burton is the only driver to complete every lap this year of competition. See Regan Smith in the 01 coming to pit road, Dave Blaney in the 22, A.J. Allmendinger in the 84, and again, these are all scheduled green flag stops.
Blaney pits out of 11th place. He was having a strong run. There's Blaney, the Cat Camry. Trying to stay in the top 35 in owner points, which means he would automatically be in the race in 2 weeks in Charlotte instead of having to qualify on time.
And with the run he's having, Sam Hornish in the 77 car, who's back out on the track 85 laps down, the 22 car, that's what they've got their eye on tonight. Yeah, you come here to win the race, but I think winning a race for this group would be moving into the top 35 in the checkered flag wave tonight.
The unfortunate thing for Blaney is he fought this battle all last year. He was in, he was out, he was in, he was out, and then he ended up out again when the season started.
Martin Truex, the 5th place car, comes to pit road. You saw Scott Riggs in the pit lane as well. And Jimmy Johnson is in. Krista.
Martin Truex running extremely well. In fact, he said his car is pretty darn awesome. They plan to make a slight air pressure adjustment around to the left side. It's a 4-tire change for Martin Truex. Matt.
Chad Canals on top of the box, already calling out the adjustments they're going to make. They felt like they were losing about half a second because the car was so free at the beginning of that run. A close call with a 66 of Riggs as Johnson makes his way to his pit box. Going to make a big change, a track bar adjustment, also a wedge adjustment to try to speed up the car coming in. It was a little too tight near the end, but it was just so free at the beginning. It cost him so much time.
David Rudiman made his stop, and he was in 11th place, almost into the top 10. Jimmy Johnson, 19 seconds.
That's a long pit stop.
It is, but they did a lot of work. Yeah. They had fenders to pull out. They were making adjustments. That's a long green flag stop.
David Reagan is in, and Kyle Busch coming in. Krista.
And Kyle had just got on his radio and said his right front tire was done. A 4-tire change for Kyle. He said his car tight. In fact, he ranked it in 8, especially in turn 4.
Kevin Harvick pits. He has been running in the 4th position for a long time. Many of the laps he has been running have been faster than the leaders. They have just loosened the car up for him a little bit. It's been tight all night. That's about all he needs to march further forward.
Jamie Mack's been in and out. Kurt Busch, Bill Elliott. Matt.
Dale Earnhardt Jr. gives up the 3rd spot, making his way to Tony Eury Jr. The biggest thing about this car, it was so consistent in practice, but now it's gone both tight and loose. It was turning better that last time. Tony Jr. going to try to fix the car with an air pressure adjustment on this stop. And the 16 leader, Greg Biffle, making his way all the way down to the end of pit road. Biffle's car consistent like it was the last run. It would get tighter at the end of the run, and then that's when he would make his move. Looking to make a change again with a spring rubber. That's what they did on the last stop. Pulled a spring rubber out of the left rear. That could cost them maybe a second and a half. Solid stop on the right side as they come around the left. Watch the rear changer. Reach inside. And Biffle is finally down and away. Good stop.
Jeff Gordon led a lap. Now he comes to pit road. Matt Kenseth as well. And Denny Hamlin, who led 381 laps last Saturday night at Richmond, is the leader for the first time tonight. Matt.
The 7-time winner is in. He said the car was not bad in turns 1 and 2 at the beginning of the run, tight down in 3 and 4, and then in the middle to the end of this run, he said it was just totally plowing. Steve Letarte going for a air pressure change. Great stop by the 24 guys.
Darrell, this becomes a very nervous time in the race. You have some drivers out there on worn tires, some drivers on brand new tires, and the closing rate is really big.
I heard a number of drivers say that the closing rate was incredible, old tires to new, and we're seeing that right now.
You don't want to pit, Mike.
Patrick Carpentier.
He's actually the leader of the race right now.
Not right now.
They're talking about whether they want to pit. I don't think he wants to pit out of the lead. Here he comes, though. Stewart just missed his pit road entrance. They're trying to get on pit road.
So Carpentier will pit as Hamlin finishes up. And but for David Gilliland and Juan Montoya, we pretty much cycled through this round of pit stops.
Yeah, and it looks like, as far as, unlike the last time we had the green flag stops, that Greg Biffle, the 16 car, he's barely going to still have the lead because Kyle Busch in the 18 will be right behind him.
Gilliland in. And here's Dick with Carpentier.
Yeah, Patrick Carpentier, Mike, started in the 43rd position. Dead last, worked his way all the way up to the lead. They were late in pitting in that first round, pitted on lap 70. He has done a brilliant job of driving that race. He had never even seen this place until he got here this weekend.
For the lead, Greg Biffle around Kyle Busch. Now 2 laps ago, they were not so friendly in close quarters.
I think this is the payback right here.
From the Goodyear blimp.
Ooh.
Oh, boy.
That is huge.
How did Biffle save it?
That is huge.
Once again, I think we see a product of this new car with that wing. I think the old car, he spun out.
Yeah, that was huge right there. It's a good thing they had on good tires.
And now Biffle got what he wanted. He got the lead back. But look who's filling up his rearview mirror.
Well, that was a payback. That's what I said. I think it was a payback.
He's not filling up his rearview mirror now. If he looks out the left window, he'll see the 18.
The racetrack. The smarter man will win. Clear.
Do you hear what he said?
Yeah. Let him go. He won't be there at the end.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Do need to mention that Kyle Petty and Elliott Sadler, they are back out on the racetrack.
239 laps to go in Darlington, South Carolina. .133 laps complete in Darlington. Kyle Busch leading Greg Biffle by 1 second. There's Digger. He's been busy selling plush toys.
Amongst other things, coffee cups.
He got back in that hole before that 18 car came along.
Well, Kyle Busch has been complaining about his brakes.
I don't know what happened to the brakes. No stopping power. I'm getting killed at 3 and 4. I got no brakes to slow down. You have your brake fans on? Yep. This is the most pathetic I think I have ever seen in my whole life.
Now those were several sound bites edited together, but it has been a recurring refrain from the driver who leads this race. And Jeff Hammond, he's still running 29.10s, which are pretty fast laps around here, even with a brake problem.
Mike, you're right about that. He's still getting around this racetrack pretty quick. But let me just talk about maybe what the problem is. This is a smaller caliper, probably what they've got on. More like a super speedway, what we call design, compared to the big one that we normally run at places like Richmond as well as Martinsville. A lot smaller brake pad itself. Again, if you look at this brake pad compared to this brake pad, you can see there's quite a bit of difference in these two. Now, the problem he's running into, he doesn't feel like he's got enough brake to woe the car up. Again, a lot of speed down in these turns, not a lot of rear gear to decelerate the car. So this is what he's concerned with, is right now, do I have enough brake to be able to last this race? If the crew chief is trying to help him out, but you don't know if it's going to work or not. And excuse me, folks, I got to put a brake on this behind me.
Hey, Jeff, I want to have a discussion with you about Kyle Busch and the 18 car. It really has nothing to do with the brakes. I never wanted a driver to be an ear massager to me. Tell me what's wrong with your car, but don't just keep telling me and dragging the crew down by saying it's pathetic. All that does is just drag those guys down, especially when you're leading the race by almost 2 seconds.
You're exactly right, Larry. When you think about something like that, that's not good for team morale. Again, you're talking about exactly what the biggest problem is. You need these guys to get you on and off of pit road, and if you're beating them up, the guys that work on the car, they're going to get down on each other. And what's going to happen, you're going to have a slow pit stop, or something else is going to go wrong, and everything's going to start to kind of like fall apart internally. Pump these guys up. We know you got a problem. We're going to do everything we can to keep on top of it and work with you, but you've got to help us out by just drive the race car, tell us what's wrong with it, and basically quit your whining.
There you go.
They always told me to work your hands and not your mouth. But I'm telling you, it's like I told you a couple weeks ago. They need to put a little a sign. Caution's out. They need a little sign on that button. Do not push in case of unless in case of emergency.
You know, that caution was a big break for Casey Kane in the 9. He just had driven by the 18 car. That'll get Casey back on the lead lap.
And it will give the free pass, we believe, to Clint Boyer. Last week's winner was the first car 1 lap down. The caution is for debris on the front straightaway. There is some of it. It is the 3rd caution flag tonight.
Now this will put everybody back on sequence. Everyone will be to pit road. They will get 4 tires. They'll fill it up with Sunoco race fuel. They'll make adjustments. Everybody will be back on even ground now as far as pit sequence.
I can't tell you how impressed I am with Travis Kvapil, that number 28 from Yates Racing. It looks like the car across the way in the Darlington Museum, and it's running like it. He's in 4th place.
I just want to defend a driver a little bit in this conversation that Jeff and Larry just had. If you don't tell them, when you finally do tell them, they say, well, why didn't you tell us? You know, why did you wait till now to tell us? So he's just being sure they get the message. That's all.
I got no problem with giving me a message, but don't just keep beating me down. You know what I'd tell them eventually? We'll bring it on in here and we'll change the brakes. Just come on in.
Now, boys.
I got my ally down there in the Hollywood Hotel, and it's not Chris Myers.
I'm bringing it on in next time by, and it ain't going to be for no brake change either.
It's Mother's Day weekend. Be nice.
Yeah.
He's not my mother.
And he ain't my brother.
He's a brother from another mother.
You're on thin ice. And it's 80 degrees out, so guess what happens next?
I think we need a pit stop.
That was a long green flag run, 126 laps of green flag racing, and here they all come, all the lead lap cars to pit road. Krista.
The adjustments made Kyle Busch looser, but not loose enough. Steve Addington, his crew chief, said, how about a spring rubber? Kyle says, no, I'm going to need that for 1 and 2. I want track bar instead. Also, a water bottle and windshield for Kyle. Steve.
Krista, Travis Kvapil said, hey, just give me a little more rear grip. He's gone from 12th up to 4th, so air pressure out of the right rear, Dick Berggren.
Well, Kevin Harvick didn't like the changes they made to his car on the last pit stop, so they're going to back it up to where they started. Matt.
Tony Eury Jr. said he may gamble and go with 2 tires at some juncture of the race, and that's exactly what he did. Also, slight adjustment because Junior said the car was still too free. Meanwhile, the Biff, the very first pit stall, he will not win the battle off pit road. He wanted a significant adjustment. The car way too loose, and it cost him on the stopwatch at least a 10th every lap.
3rd caution flag of the night. Pit stops complete for the lead lap cars. There's the DirecTV race off pit road. 226 laps to go. Aerial coverage provided by the Goodyear Tire and Rubber Company for track-tested technology. Get there on Goodyear Innovation. We're getting ready for the restart. Kyle Busch should be somewhere up here, and he's not. He's way back here, and the reason is loose lug nut on his pit stop. Same for Scott Riggs. Too fast exiting the pit for Sterling Marlin. They will all restart tail end of the longest line.
Yeah, because we've got 24 cars on the lead lap, so they're going to restart right now. They're showing 22nd and 23rd. Kyle Busch in the 18 and 23rd spot right now.
Missing lug nut for those 2 cars. Time for our Clear It and Clear restart. Get clear it and clear. Get back to feeling like yourself again. 224 laps to go. Dale Jr. picked up 2 spots on pit road. He's your leader.
Yeah, I'd hate to be in the 18 car back there with brake problems and all those cars to pass. This could get interesting.
Green flag. Dale Jr. holds the lead from Greg Biffle, Jeff Gordon, Martin Truex, and Travis Kvapil, your top 5 on a Mother's Day Saturday night at Darlington as we crank it up for you. down to the apron.
And he was running in the 6th position, but he got into the wall hard.
No caution.
Wait, man. I'm sorry, guys.
I'm just telling you right now, with all these cars running this close together, I'm not surprised they haven't wadded up a bunch of them.
The rear end is moved over to the left.
Yeah, that's a hard hit.
Yeah, they're going to have to go to the garage area.
Stepped out.
Floppy jawed.
Here's what happened to Harvick. And now caution is out.
I mean, that is a hard lick, right rear and right front. The caution is out, and I'll tell you who's loving that caution flag is Ryan Newman in the 12 car. He was just out in front of leader Dale Earnhardt Jr. He was 2 laps down, so now he'll only be 1.
Here's a look at Harvick's crash from his teammate Jeff Burton. Oh, wow.
That thing just got a little loose.
Easy. Come on,
Couldn't
no
catch
caution,
it.
come on.
That car is hurt. Wow.
You know, Kevin Harvick, I think, was one of the few cars over the course of the whole weekend. He didn't even have a Darlington stripe to that lap. And there you see they're headed to the garage area.
Paul Menard will get the free pass on this, the 4th caution flag of the night.
You're watching NASCAR on Fox.
NASCAR Sprint Cup Racing on Fox is sponsored by McDonald's. Come taste the new Southern-style chicken sandwich.
Would you like to taste one for free? This Thursday, May 15th, McDonald's is giving away a free Southern-style chicken biscuit or chicken sandwich at participating McDonald's with purchase of a medium or large drink. So go and get yours free on Thursday at participating McDonald's.
You know, I don't want to speak too soon. We've got 150 laps in the book, 217 to go. So we're getting closer and closer to halfway. And right now, all 43 cars, with the exception of Kevin Harvick, who did go to the garage area for a little bit of repair, are out on the racetrack.
Yeah, there's a couple of them that are limping around at 77 and a 45, and this one will be if they can get it repaired.
A lot of work to do to get Harvick back in this race. Now, we mentioned Kyle Busch started tail end of the longest line. He's worked his way up to 19th. Scott Riggs up to 23rd after starting in the back that last restart, along with Sterling Marlin, who is 1 lap down. Getting ready for the restart to complete lap 151. Live Claret and clear, indoors and out. Green flag.
You know, Mike, drivers love this racetrack. You know why? Because when you do good here, you've accomplished something that's extraordinary. To run all night here, stay out of trouble, and have a good finish or a win is extraordinary. Kevin Harvick's run every lap this year but 2 until tonight.
Michael Waltrip in that 55 car sandwiched between Dale Earnhardt Jr. and Greg Biffle in the 16. Right now, Michael is the first car a lap down.
To finish this race without major damage is going to be a pretty good accomplishment.
It really is. I mean, there's very few cars out there that doesn't have the right side pretty well used up already, and we're not even halfway.
You can definitely tell the track is getting a little bit better, a little bit faster. Just look at Martin Truex Jr., Travis Kvapil. They just ran their fastest lap of the race right after that last restart.
Yeah, I think you get tires now, and the temperature of the track has cooled down, and there's a lot of, should be a lot of grip out there now. You're going to haul the mail.
Last Saturday night, Dale Earnhardt Jr.'s biggest disappointment was not that Kyle Busch got into the side of him and then he wrecked, but that he had a top 3 car and he didn't get a top 3 finish out of it.
And he told us on our trackside show Friday that he really messed up turn 1 and 2. He opened the door way too wide for Kyle Busch, let Kyle Busch get that run down the back straightaway, and you're less than 10 laps to go at a short track.
Well, I tell you one thing, he's showing all these other crew chiefs right now, 2 tires ain't a bad deal. They took 2 tires, and there he is out there, and he's running into 28s. We haven't been into 28s all night long. We've been up near 32nd, 29s. Right now, he just ran a 28.79. That's getting it on, boys.
Martin Truex in 3rd place just ran his fastest lap of the race last time by.
Now, when they changed those 2 tires, remember, he pitted on lap 121 under green, so he actually had less than 20 laps owned those left side tires, talking about Dale Earnhardt Jr., the 88.
So not much of a gamble, Larry, to take 2?
You want him to find out now. We talked at the top of the show. We want to know for that last 50 to 60 laps what we possibly can do.
And because he needed less than 1 can of that Sunoco unleaded race fuel, why take the time to take 4?
Exactly what he told me.
Down to the garage in Kevin Harvick's car, Dick Berggren.
It's been 94 races since Kevin Harvick has crashed out of a Sprint Cup race, Mike, and he's going to get back in this one as well. The mechanics are going through a well-orchestrated crash repair. The drive shaft was broken in half. They have to replace that. The rear end housing is okay. That stays in. They've got a Porta Power up front. This car is well used up, but not so badly used up that Harvick can't get back in the race. He will return to the speedway.
Yeah, I think the significant damage to that car came because I believe where he hit the wall was past the safer barrier. I believe he really canned that wall over there right past the safer barrier.
Tell you what, Greg Biffle in that 16 car, who's been strong all night long, sat on the pole. He's reeling in Dale Earnhardt Jr. back there.
I think Biffle has a stronger car than we have seen evidence of most of this evening.
I think you're right, and I don't think Dale Jr. will put up much of a fight right now. He knows Biffle's a little quicker. Probably let him go on by. Don't want him riding your back bumper.
Biffle has been very patient in picking his times to run for the lead.
Well, he's won here twice. He knows what it takes to win, and he knows that there's still over 200 laps to go in this race.
I know we're looking at Biffle and Dale Jr., but look at that car behind them. That's closing up mighty, mighty quickly.
Martin Truex Jr. in that one car had a great run at Richmond last week, finished up in the top 5.
And that car just gets faster and faster as the night goes along.
He's the faster of the 3, and right behind him is Jeff Gordon, who's faster yet.
Truex and Travis Kvapil have just in the last couple of laps run their quickest lap of the race. Here goes Biffle for the lead, and Junior lifts and lets him go.
Yeah, it's a good, safe way to do it. Right in the middle of the straightaway, get out of the gas, hit the skosh, let that guy get by and go back to racing.
And that's where you'll lose the least amount of time doing it that way.
That's that word I constantly use when you talk about Darlington, anticipation. Anticipate where people are going to catch you, where you're going to catch them so you can make the pass safely.
And says to his former teammate Martin Truex, in effect, you go up and wear him out. I'm going to ride a while.
They see the same things we do. They look at the stopwatch Tony Jr. does. He says, Dale Jr., those cars are faster than you. Don't race them right now.
Kyle Busch in the 18 car had that penalty for a lug nut the last caution. He has now worked his way back into the top 15. 2 restarts ago, he restarted 23rd. He's working on Bobby Labonte in the 43 car. That puts him actually up to 13th now. You know, another good car having a great run right behind Bobby Labonte is David Rudiman in that 44 car. He's been running in the top 15 most of the race. Started all the way back in 30th. Definitely the better of the Michael Waltrip Racing cars tonight.
Larry had a great run here last night. He finished 3rd in that race last night. I think that really helped him as far as his car and his confidence for tonight, because he is running great.
You know, the car that Kyle Busch has zeroed in now is Matt Kenseth in that 17 car. Even though probably he's going to lose that position, I tell you what, that team, they've made a great recovery over the weekend, because Matt qualified back in 34th. He hit the wall on Thursday with this race car, had a hard crash last night in the Nationwide Series. Definitely he's going to lose this position, but I think they're gaining on this 17th car here at Darlington. Darlington's kind of a Matt Kenseth type of racetrack.
It really is, and you just saw Kyle Busch go down on the apron to make the pass. Gives a nice wave to Matt, says thank you very much. You can use the apron quite a bit here without any problem.
Whether you can use it or not, DW, you know that Kyle Busch will use the apron.
Yeah, I saw him pass 2 or 3 cars down there a little bit earlier when they were kind of bottled up a little bit. He likes to do that.
Jeff Burton, Kurt Busch, 9th and 10th place.
I think right now, Larry and Mike, anybody that's running in the top 12, 15, they could win this race.
Yep.
If you're running good enough right now to maintain that kind of position, you're a contender for this win.
Creeping up toward halfway, let's go back to lap 123 and name Greg Biffle our All-State Good Hands driver. This is one of the most incredible saves I've ever seen at this racetrack.
I mean, right in the middle of the corner, Kyle Busch in the 18 gets in the back of him. He is completely sideways, loses a spot, but he recovers.
But you know what he did? which not a lot of guys can do. He drove out of it. You see that right rear smoking? He didn't jump on the brake and say, oh, I'm spinning out. He stayed in the gas and drove that thing out of there.
Allstate, are you in good hands? Kyle Petty spent a bunch of time in the garage after hitting the wall. Greg Biffle laps past him. Only one car in the garage right now. That is Kevin Harvick, and they intend to return. So 42 cars running, 24 of them on the lead lap at lap 166.
You know, a couple of cars up in the top 10 right now. We've talked about them a little bit. One of them is Dave Blaney in the 22 car. We talked about him coming in here just outside the top 35 in points. They had their best finish of the season last week at Richmond. They finished 18th. I just feel like I said it yesterday that missing the Talladega race was a wake-up call to this race team. They put the full court press on testing, and here he is running up in the 8th position after a pretty decent qualifying run.
And I think you're right, Larry, because the way the Toyotas all ran at Talladega, you knew that it wasn't an engine problem. It was something wrong with your race car.
Speaking of something wrong, let's have a look at our defending series champ Jimmie Johnson. He is running in 5th place, and his lap times are within half a second of the leader. So, Matt, what's the problem?
Mike, Scott Maxim and several members from the Hendrick Motorsports engine department have made their way to the 48. Jimmie Johnson, the concern here, possible alternator problems. Chad Canals has told Jimmie, shut off all the fans. The good thing for Jimmie, his drink filtration system is run off a different battery. They told him to leave that alone. Also told him in a few laps to try switching ignition boxes as well. But there is some concern here on the alternator on the 48.
This is a very physically and mentally demanding race. I wouldn't want to be without my cool box because it's pretty hot out there tonight. It's 75 degrees. I saw a couple of drivers sticking their hand out the window to get a little fresh air going down the straightaway.
Pole sitter Greg Biffle has a 2.8 second lead, 170 laps into the Dodge Challenger 500.
I like the way this one's looking. Stay tuned for more NASCAR on Fox.
Greg Biffle leads, Martin Truex second. Jeff Gordon has moved into 3rd. Dale Earnhardt Jr. continues to run in 4th place despite a bout with the turn 2 wall. Here's what happened to Jr. a couple of laps ago. And that's how Jeff Gordon got to 3rd place. Here's what Jeff saw of that. That looked like a light hit from that angle. Watch it from this one.
Yikes. That was a little bit more than lightly and slightly. That was not politely.
But I think that right there is a product that has been our theme since the pre-race show came on the air, is you can never relax here. You can never let your guard down.
Sam Hornish puts the Darlington stripe count up to 20. He put another one on the turn 4 wall 2 laps ago.
And I think that's actually a conservative number. Very conservative.
I think it'd be easier to say how many haven't hit the wall myself.
Hey, you have to earn your stripes here.
But meanwhile, Greg Biffle in this 16 car, he has worked his way out to about a 3-second lead over Martin Truex Jr. in the 1 car, as he's now working on Robbie Gordon. Right now, Robbie Gordon in the 7 is 4 laps down in this car.
Biffle's car tonight looks like Denny Hamlin's did last week. On a rail, running a pretty perfect race right now.
You see vote for Robbie on the side of the number 7. He's not involved in the presidential primaries, but Robbie Gordon would like to get voted into the Sprint All-Star race that you'll see next Saturday night on Speed. And your fan vote will decide the final starter in the All-Star race.
Dale Jr. told me that he was voting for Elliott Sadler. Just FYI, if that means anything to you.
Well, it's hard to believe Casey Kane's not in it. He hasn't won in a while.
Got a feeling he might be able to race his way right on up in there.
And 2 drivers will.
And you look at guys right now that's having good runs like Travis Kvapil, Dave Blaney, David Reagan. Darrell mentioned anybody in the top 15 right now could still win this race. Remember, if you're a guy that's not in that all-star race and you win the night, you can get in. This would be the last entry by winning here. And there goes Kyle Busch in the 18. That will now move him up well into the top 10. He's going by David Reagan. That moves him up to 9th.
That's pretty good recovery, buddy. When you come from the back of the pack.
And with a car that's been plagued with brake problems most of the night.
Could be a real advantage. When you're behind that many cars, no brakes is a good thing, I reckon.
Well, Kyle is hoping that Darlington is not the temple of doom for that 18 team or for the race leader. Matt, what's up with Biffle?
A lot of conversation back and forth between the Dregs, Irwin, and Biffle about a possible vibration. At one point, Greg Biffle thought he might have a wheel bearing issue. We're not exactly sure what their issue is, but they do have a bad vibration.
Oh, boy.
Now, I know Greg Biffle is leading this race right now by 3.5 seconds over Martin Truex Jr., but we mentioned Denny Hamlin from Richmond last week. Right now, on the stopwatch, this 11 car, he's in his own zip code. Our leader's running 30.0s in 29.90s. Denny Hamlin's last lap was 29.50, sitting back there in 5th spot.
You know, last Saturday night, Hamlin cut down that tire, and when he could not get to pit road, stayed on the racetrack, stopped right about there at turn 4, and drew the caution flag so as not to tear his car up. NASCAR held him for 2 laps, and Vice President of Competition Robin Pemberton explained this week it was not so much a penalty to Hamlin, but what they did was take away those 2 laps, because if he had come around and stopped under green, he would have lost 2 laps changing that tire. So by causing the caution, Hamlin should not gain an unfair advantage, and that's why they took away those 2 laps.
I'm not so sure it would have been worse, because that tire would have come apart and it had to go the length all the way around the racetrack. It could have been much worse for him than actually.
I agree, but he would have lost at least 2 laps.
Definitely
that's
lost
what
2.
they held him, and I think that was fair.
Oh, I do too. I agree.
The bottom line, the 11 car did what they needed to do. NASCAR did what they needed to do. As I mentioned, we sat with JD and Joe Gibbs today. He said, look, of all the reports that he stopped on the racetrack to put Kyle Busch on the rear bumper of Dale Earnhardt Jr., our guys worked together, but not quite that much together.
No, not at all. How about Travis Kvapil? Fred Lorenzen up in Elmhurst, Illinois, has got to be smiling. Been a long, long time. It's been the 1960s since this paint job and this sponsor rambled to victory on the racetracks of the South.
How would you like to be Fred Lorenzen up in Elmhurst up there, and you walk in, turn on the TV, and you say, "Man, that looks like my race car."
Good job.
I didn't know they had television back in my day.
We've been talking about Todd Parrott. There's Todd Parrott right there. Won the NASCAR championship with Dale Jarrett.
There weren't many races on TV back then, but there was Bud Lindemann and Car and Track Films.
Yeah.
Those are the films used for the Back in the Day series that Dale Jr. hosts on Speed. And Lorenzen figured prominently in a lot of races from here at Darlington.
He was the golden boy. That's what they called him. He was Ford's golden boy. We got a golden boy. What's his name?
A man named Burns.
Wow, that's nice. But in any case, Travis Kvapil just said the right front tire not working very good right now. In the front end, well cut. Todd Parrott said, "We just passed halfway, bud. We'll get you fixed up."
And the thing about it, Steve, we've been on a long run here. We're within about 15 laps of what will be green flag pit stops again for all these guys, including Travis Kvapil in the 28.
He's not happy, but he's a tenth or more quicker than Jimmy Johnson, the man he's chasing. They are all chasing Greg Biffle, who has just 1 win in the last 46 races. That was at Kansas last September.
NASCAR Sprint Cup Racing on Fox is sponsored by DirecTV. If you call yourself a sports fan, you got to get DirecTV. By Applebee's, it's a whole new neighborhood. By Radio Shack, don't just buy stuff, do stuff. And by Mountain Dew. Are you old school or new school? Time for an AT&T race break, and Martin Truex Jr. has moved out in front. 194 laps in. Greg Biffle having problems. The pole sitter. By the way, no pole sitter has won a race so far this season, and he was blistering, leading 60-plus laps in this race, but some problems and now pitting. Matt Yoakum has the latest on Biffle. Matt?
His chances for victory may be gone. Biffle says he thinks the transmission is definitely broken. Transmission issues on the 16 of Biffle, and he slides to a stop.
Thanks, Matt. The leader, by the way, at the halfway point has failed to win 10 of the last 12 races, and Biffle was our leader at the halfway point with Jeff Hammond, Chris Myers, and here feeling the transmission go.
Yeah, all of a sudden he's going along there. He just got through passing Tony Stewart, and like the car almost lost power, Chris. Again, if he's got a transmission problem, he could have basically broken fourth gear. You see his crew chief right there, Greg Irwin. He knows something's wrong. They're trying to figure it out. Again, he's got the car on pit road. They've changed 4 tires. He's gone back out of the racetrack. But here's your leader right now, Martin Truex Jr. And Chris, he's doing a phenomenal job. Ran well last week at Richmond, and he's been kind of pacing himself, kind of laying in the weeds, working his way up toward this lead, and he's now taking this lead.
First top 5 finish last week for Martin Truex Jr. Started 22nd tonight, and the Darlington stripe making its mark on drivers, and this is the 28 car.
Yeah, he was right in behind Jimmy Johnson, Travis Quapple, running up there in that basically in the top 10. But again, he hit the wall hard, looking out the camera of the AT&T car of Jeff Burton. You see how hard he got into that wall off of the corner there, Chris. And again, as we go further in the night, I think you're going to see more of this. His racetrack's going to change. The guys are going to lose their focus, and this is going to be more. You're going to see more and more of these guys bouncing off the wall.
We are working at an average speed at a record pace over 142 miles per hour early on. This is the second lap. Top 10 in points. Tony Stewart wrecked by Elliott Sadler. Elliott apologized. A lap down is Tony Stewart, and 22 spots lost for Kyle Busch, the points leader and the leader, because of a lug nut that was missing. And then a top 5 in points. Kevin Harvick coming into the race, currently running 6th. At this point, hit the wall. His highest was 4th. And out and of the picture right now, slipping behind. So we've had 13 different leaders, 22 different lead changes, and a blistering pace considering the speed of this track.
Yeah, it definitely is right now. Again, we're watching Martin Truex Jr. trying to get a lap on Casey Kane, who's hanging on the 22nd position right now, Chris.
And if you want an exclusive look inside the world of Richard Childress Racing, Jeff Burton of the 31 Chevrolet, thanks to AT&T, you can get that look using cellular video on your AT&T handset. You can access all the inside RCR content. So it's Truex, Gordon, Hamlin, and Dale Earnhardt Jr. Let's rejoin Darrell, Larry, and Mike.
Since Darlington lost its Labor Day race to California Speedway, we race here only once a year. So Martin Truex has only 2 Sprint Cup starts here. He finished 14th in 2006, 11th in 2007. This is the first time he has led a race here.
You know, back to Biffle's problem. Remember, he complained about a vibration. That could have been a loose wheel or something like that, other than a transmission. We'll see how it turns out.
Now, I think we're just about to start to see what will be green flag stops. I'm seeing Tony Stewart on pit road. Looks like Casey Kane in the 9. I think Jeff Gordon in the 24, who had just been passed by Denny Hamlin for 2nd.
Now, Greg Biffle's woes continue, Matt.
Mike, the prognosis keeps going back and forth. Now, after the stop, a crew member went out on the concrete pad with some cleaner, and where the transmission would be in the box, they were cleaning up some fluid, but also they did have a right rear tire that was loose. You could see where the lug nut holes were. Krista?
Martin Truex, the leader, comes in for his pit stop. His car has been great all night, and it gets better as the race goes on. A 4-tire change for Martin Truex. They had a sub-13 stop on their last stop. They get all the fuel in, and there goes Martin Truex.
Blaney, Hamlin are in, so is Quapple, Carpentier, and Jimmy Johnson. And Dale Jr. back to the lead. Little contact on pit road. And here's Matt.
Jimmy Johnson in pit road. His teammate Jeff Gordon already gone. He was ridiculously tight. Johnson wasn't quite as bad, although he has been fighting tight most of the night. Chad Knaus going for an air pressure change to Krista.
Kyle Busch is tight. They're going to make a wedge adjustment on the stop, and they're going to pay special attention to those lug nuts. They missed one on the last stop. There Kyle Mack.
And the 88, Dale Earnhardt Jr. back in the pits. He says his car is just not consistent. It won't turn off turn 2, and then when it does, it spins. To Steve.
Matt, the 17 of Matt Kenseth. Kenseth is a little concerned about his brakes. He has to lay off of them a couple laps at a time. He also wants his car tightened up on this stop to make a chassis adjustment, and it will be 4 tires for Matt Kenseth.
David Ragan picks up the lead for the first time. Oh, he missed the cone. Missed the commit cone, so he'll have to come around again to make his stop, and that'll be costly for Ragan. He's not the first driver to miss that tonight.
Nope. Darrell talked about that earlier. You're running so fast, and the apron is so tight, and it just sneaks up on you because the entrance is right there, smack dab in the middle of turn 4.
And it's dirty, too. That's the big thing.
There's Gilliland, Carl Edwards, Montoya, and Kevin Harvick made 1 lap, went back to the garage. Patrick Carpentier will get a pass-through penalty for a tire violation on his stop, and it moves Jamie McMurray into the lead for the first time tonight.
All right, Jamie Mack. We don't get a chance to talk about Jamie Mack much. Good job, buddy.
And Hornish, for the 3rd time tonight, has bounced off the wall at turn 4.
He has worn that wall out.
No caution.
Not to mention the car.
Steve.
You saw David Ragan miss the entrance to pit road. His comment prior to that, leave the balance alone. Up 3 at the start of the run, but tight at the end. 4 tires for David Ragan in the 6.
And that's about what you're going to be here if you go a full fuel run, because it burns the fuel off, you gain all that nose weight, and it's going to get tighter, so you have to be a little free at the beginning.
Jamie McMurray, the leader. Paul Menard in 2nd. Now, he was the driver that got the free pass on the last caution back at lap 149, a full fuel run ago.
Now, when we cycle through, which McMurray should pit here shortly, I think you're going to see him come to pit road now. Paul Menard will be there.
Low down, get a low down, 4,400.
Greg Biffle will get the lead. The biggest reason, because of coming to pit road early, he got advantage of those fresh tires for those 7 or 8 laps. So he'll actually be about a 1.5 seconds in front of Martin Truex Jr. in the 1.
Yeah, that time of the pit stop didn't hurt a thing because he was about ready to make one anyway.
Dick.
Well, Jamie McMurray has struggled with his race car the entire time that they've been here, Mike. His worst ever Darlington start tonight, 25th. The car is fast, it'll be slow, it'll be fast, it'll be slow. They've worked on it since they've gotten here. And right now, it's pretty decent. 4 tire stop, just like almost everybody else.
Jamie Mack led 3 laps, and this will put his Roush Fenway teammate Greg Biffle back up front.
Yeah, honestly, the Roush Fenway cars, all 5 of them, other than Greg Biffle in the 16 that sat on the pole, the other 4 struggled in qualifying, and right now they've almost all worked their way, including Carl Edwards in the 99 we're riding with. They've almost all worked their way up into the top 15 as we're getting down now to about 150 laps to go.
Here, nice and smooth. Still got a long way to go.
Edwards is 15th at the moment.
I tell you, guys pushing hard again is this guy right here. He just pushed himself right up in the wall down here in 3 and 4. He caught up with Jimmy Johnson. You can see those look at those rotors glowing. Got a little bit loose, snapped it up in the fence. Away he went.
He's in 8th place.
Here he comes in here and he just gets loose. That's a hard lick.
It's a lot harder than what he hit it earlier.
Yeah, it's got to hurt. That's got to hurt something.
Kyle is 12 seconds off the lead, running in 8th place, challenging Johnson for 7th. So Greg Biffle, who thought he might be out of the race with a blown transmission, instead got 4 fresh tires and now finds himself back in the lead.
That's great. Let's try to fix this thing and put it back to where I can at least drive it. Nice and smooth. Keep coming. You clear? Yeah, man. Nobody coming. Trying to catch all the guys in front of you. About the 2nd, 3rd best car right now, bud. Easy, easy. Come on, come on. No caution. Come on.
Radio communication, a big part of today's racing, as Greg Biffle, who's won 2 of the last 3 here at Darlington, leads Martin Truex by 3 seconds. And only 1 change in the top 7 or 8 Kyle Busch has passed Jimmy Johnson, moving him up to 7th place.
I think the old Biff's right rear tire was loose. That's what he was feeling vibrating.
Everything seems fine now as he's back out there in the lead. Communication so important in today's racing. as Jeff Hammond tells us in tonight's State Farm Safety Report.
Everyone knows that the key to success is through communication. Well, back in the beginning, the only way we could communicate in racing was through the old chalkboard. That's right, writing messages on a chalkboard. But today, with modern technology, when it comes to communication, you can see the two-way radio, headsets in the pit, the driver's ability to be able to wear specially made ear moles. He can hear everything going on from the spotter as well as the crew chief simply by being plugged in, pushing a button on the steering wheel, and being able to talk and understand what's going on. Communication has always been the key to success, but also could be the key for safety.
Thanks, Jeff.
You know what? Talking about safety and communication, I wonder what these guys would feel like they had to race without a spotter.
Wow.
Because up until what, Larry, 80-something, middle 80s, latter 80s, we didn't have spotters.
We really didn't. We would find a cousin or a brother-in-law that happened to come to the race and say, hey,
Yeah.
stand on the trailer, and if you see something out there, tell us.
See smoke.
Matt Kenseth may have cut a tire. That car suddenly slowed and was passed by Travis Kvapil for 10th place. Kenseth staying out.
I don't know.
Maybe not for long.
I think he's trying to figure out which one it is now. He's wiggling the car around a little bit there, but I wouldn't play around long if I were him.
Now, while this is going on, we talked about Paul Menard a while ago, right before making a green flag stop, was actually running in second. They are now pushing the 15 car down pit road, and he'll go to the garage area. Kevin Harvick in the 29 keeps going out and going back in, still trying to get that car right after hitting the wall hard off turn 2.
Well, this is a difficult place to ride around and stay out of the way. The track is so narrow, then when you drop down on the apron to try to get out of the way, you pick up all that debris on your tires, and you can't get up any speed. So it's a very difficult track to ride around on and stay out of the way.
The only place to be out of the way here is going out through the tunnel, out to the highway.
Got a nice new tunnel here, I'll say that.
A lot of improvements here. We
so
talked
excited.
about Labor Day weekend here, and Darrell, I know you're coming.
Yep.
There is no Labor Day race anymore at Darlington, but there's going to be
We're never going to make it.
Going to be a great vintage stock car reunion here at Darlington.
Whatever you got to do here.
Labor Day weekend.
17's got
I'm going to bring my old Mercury down here the first time I raced here was in my old Mercury number 95.
David Pearson, Buddy Baker, Cotton Owens, a lot of the folks that helped make Darlington famous. And the fans are invited to gather for a great weekend of reminiscing about the Southern 500. Labor Day weekend here.
It's going to be like the old days. Go out here to the corner cafe and eat a hamburger steak smothered in onions, get some French fries, and come in here and talk racing.
In 2 weeks, NASCAR on Fox returns with stock car racing's longest night, the Coca-Cola 600. That's in 2 weeks. 1 week from tonight, it's the NASCAR Sprint All-Star Race on Speed.
And just remember, like Kevin Harvick a year ago, $1 million to win that race, and it's all about winning. Nobody cares, no points paid for second on back. You know, Dale Earnhardt Jr. in the 88 car, he was just passed a few laps ago by Kyle Busch in the 18, so Kyle has now moved in the 6th position. Kyle led a bunch of laps early in this race. 80 laps ago, had a lug nut missing. Fortunately, under a caution pit stop, had to restart back in 23rd, working his way toward the top 5. But Kyle really needs a caution, I think, to catch up because he's 11 seconds behind leader Greg Biffle right now.
But we haven't heard him complaining much here lately. He's been too busy.
He's working those hands.
Now, how about Matt Kenseth, who we saw slow on the racetrack, but he did not pit. Steve, what's up?
Mike, he doesn't really know. At first, he did say, I've got a flat tire. I'm not sure which one. Then there was some silence. He came back and said, it might be a loose wheel. The crew chief, Chip Boland, said, you make the call. Do what you have to do.
Right now, his lap time, Steve, they look good. Our leaders are running 29.80s and 70s. Matt Kenseth's lap by running in 11th was 29.88.
Car looks a little squirrely, though. He's kind of jumping sideways and moving around like something's wrong with it.
It's Chip Boland, who took over the crew chief duties for Matt Kenseth at the start of 2008. Chip has been with his team since its inception back in 2000 as the lead engineer and car chief. Robbie Reiser, who'd been there since the beginning, stepped down, took a team manager role.
I just don't like the way the car is jumping sideways kind of up off the corner like it's almost got a loose wheel or something.
Well, there's 4 Roush Fenway cars in a row. There's Kvapil, the white car, then Kenseth in black. Here's David Reagan in red and white, and Carl Edwards right behind him. So all the Roush-keteers for 4 out of the 5 in a row, and of course Greg Biffle leading. Nice run for Reagan tonight. 4th place as Dave Blaney powers past Jeff Gordon.
Where did Blaney come from, Larry? I mean, I know he's been running good all night, but goodness gracious, he just blew by Jeff Gordon and is up into 4th place. Dick, what they're saying down there?
They are saying race the racetrack, Darrell, just like in the old days. Blaney has been hot all night long. His lap times have been as good as, or even sometimes better than the leader. He qualified 13th. That's his best start of the year. This is absolutely his best run of the year. We remind you, Dave Blaney, with 277 starts in this series, has never won. Maybe tonight.
Tell you one thing, he hadn't used up the side of it yet. He's got something to give yet.
Car's pristine on the right and left side.
It's a brand new race car. Saw the racetrack for the first time when the track opened on Thursday.
Blaney's race is to get into the top 35 in owner points. And Jeff Burton has just fallen 1 lap down. Now Burton's completed every lap this year so far, and he falls a lap to Greg Biffle, your leader.
NASCAR Sprint Cup Racing on Fox is sponsored by Sprint. Welcome to the 2008 NASCAR Sprint Cup Series. Speed is beautiful.
Before we went to break, you heard Greg Biffle say we're not going to make it over the two-way radio. He may have been right. Biffle has the steering wheel off. Looks like he's about to climb out as he coasted onto pit road, and the debris from Biffle's car has put us under caution for the 5th time tonight.
And I think it was Dick or Matt once said they don't know what's wrong with the car. It's just got a vibration in it, and I guess it ought to be easy to find now.
There's our leader of our race now, Martin Truex Jr. in that 1 car, and that's been quite a while, about 30-something laps since these guys were on pit road. So we will probably see all 19 or 20 cars on the lead lap on pit road this first time for 4 tires.
Think you'll have some gamblers at this stage?
I don't think so. I think we had a good sample a while ago of Dale Earnhardt Jr. with those 2 tires, and this thing's getting, I think it's getting slicker. These cars are sliding around. I think you'll see a full-blown gamut of 4 tires.
I think what we saw with Dale Jr. was if you had about 12, 15, maybe 20 laps to go, you could go with 2, but not a long run. So I think that answers the question. Matt, what are they saying down there, buddy?
They just looked under the car, DW. There is oil under the car. They do not believe they're going to get this car fixed. They're going to take it back to the garage and take a look, but they believe they're done.
Well, they can't take it to the garage just yet because pit road is open. Krista.
And here is Martin Truex Jr. He's kind of been steady Eddie, very good all night. The call just a half turn on that track bar. You just saw that adjustment made as they come around to the left side. This is the winning car that Martin had last year in Dover. It also finished 8th in Phoenix. Dick.
Dave Blaney pits out of the 3rd position. That's his career best finish in this league. 3rd. Car nearly perfect. A minor adjustment to the chassis. Matt.
Car really coming to life. The last one was the 11 of Denny Hamlin. Meanwhile, on the bottom of your screen, Jeff Gordon, he says his car has a terrible push. Still 0 grip in the back of the car. Going to try to make another big adjustment on the 24 again. Looks like the 11 will beat everybody off pit road. Great stop.
Caution for the 5th time tonight. Bobby Labonte will get the free pass under this caution flag as Denny Hamlin goes to the lead. 130 laps to go in Darlington. You're watching NASCAR on Fox.
Love it when it's forward, love it when it's fast, love it when the leaders come, the pack is moving past, love it when they're making lots and lots of noise, can't wait to hear the W's say. Boogity, 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 let's go racing, boys! Let's go racing, boys!
Well, it's been a wild couple of caution laps. Ryan Newman got into it with, was that Allmendinger or Vickers?
I think it was Vickers.
And Ryan's gone to the garage. You'll see it off in the distance here. There's Newman coming onto pit road, and wham! Down the track comes one of the Red Bull cars.
Yeah, I think he was, the 12 was creeping along the inside of the racetrack. The 83 dove down off the racetrack, and they collided.
And Greg Biffle is out of the race.
I'd say old Newman
Denny
got
Hamlin
the horns from that Red Bull.
will be the leader as you watch our aerial coverage provided by Goodyear. For track tested technology, get there on Goodyear innovation. Green flag, 127 laps to go.
Now, Brian Vickers in the 83 car, he's still on the lead lap, and as you may note, Ryan Newman, the 12 car, they did take that car to the garage area for repairs.
Well, boys, that 11 car leading the race, kind of familiar, isn't it?
Yeah, we're just not short track Saturday night anymore, but Hamlin figured maybe he's owed one after leading, what, 381 of 400 laps last Saturday night, having a right front tire go down.
I felt for him, and you say we're not a short track, but you know, we're running in 28s and 29s. That's not much slower than what we run at Richmond, so probably feels a lot like Richmond.
And then you just think about what happened to him in the last 19 laps of that race, and then he comes to Darlington. He's got the field covered in the Nationwide Series car in practice, and wrecked qualifying, missed the show, and then got a conservative qualifying lap in on this car, qualified back in the 21st position. They kept working on the car, and here he is leading the race with 125 laps to go.
You're not paranoid if things keep going wrong. I mean, think of how many races this cat should have won. Gets to the last, what, 20, 30 laps of the race, something happens. Fuel doesn't pick up. Thing doesn't go. Tire goes down. Trouble in the pits.
Now, how about a fellow who's paranoid with things going wrong? That would be Greg Biffle, and Matt Yoakum's caught up to him.
Greg Biffle's night is done. Where do we begin to describe all the problems that you experienced tonight?
I guess you just go back and look at our whole history. You know, I mean, Texas was the same way. Phoenix was the same way, and it's just tough. I mean, you know we got good race cars that we can win races with, but just we can't keep the wheels tight. I don't know why. The wheels keep coming loose on our cars, and I don't know what happened. Something mechanical, I guess. Real unfortunate, you know. I mean, I drive my heart out. I give it 110% every week, and I want everybody else to do the same thing for us. And just bad day for us.
Thank you, Greg.
Thanks. Greg Biffle led 7 times for 95 laps, the most of any driver tonight.
I tell you what, he's not lying when he says he drives his heart out. There's nobody that he practices hard, qualifies hard, and he races hard. And Larry, even on the tire test, he was the guy that really helped him with the tire test.
Absolutely. Jeff Gordon told me, Jeff Gordon, Ryan Newman, Greg Biffle did the tire test. And Jeff Gordon told me, he said, thank the good Lord we had Greg Biffle down there, because there were things we maybe wouldn't have found out if we hadn't had him driving up with both hands and feet on the steering wheel every lap.
You saw Kurt Busch move into 4th place ahead of Dale Earnhardt Jr. And what about Matt Kenseth now, Steve?
Mike, that caution flag was a good break. Remember, Matt Kenseth said he may have had a flat tire or a loose wheel, so they put 4 new tires on. But his concern right now is on exit of pit road, he made contact with a 22, and he's got some sheet metal rubbing one of those Goodyear tires.
And you know, when you look at that 17 car, they've got to get on it, because right now they come in here 22nd in the points. And if they don't get on it, they're not going to make the chase. Matt Kenseth is one of the few drivers that has made the chase every single year. They don't have any mulligans left.
But not as bad as it had been.
Yeah, I'm not so sure Larry didn't too late. I mean, he'd have to go on a tear. He'd have to win a bunch of races to get himself back in the chase.
Yep.
Kyle Busch stalking him. This will be for 8th place.
I think that caution is definitely something that Kyle
Trouble front straightaway. Vickers in the wall.
No caution. We stay green.
I see.
Caution will fly now.
I think he got in the outside wall, but he was able to get rolled up before he hit the inside wall. Now that's he and Ryan Newman just make big contact down at the end of pit road, and that probably had something to do with it.
I wonder if this was residual damage. We looked again at that replay, and Vickers decided to come onto pit road, made a sharp left turn. Newman was already coming along the apron at a pretty good clip to get to pit road, and with the big headrests on these cars, for some reason, Vickers nor his spotter saw Newman coming. There we go.
He got up in the wall pretty hard there back in the middle of turn 3 and 4.
That's a big night for bare bond and duct tape.
Typical Darlington looking car. Kind of bare bonded, safety wired, gray tape together.
6 caution flags with 118 laps to go. We are well below the predictions of most of the experts. along the row of the control tower, TV, and radio booths.
Well, I think we just continue to underestimate the resilience of this car. This car just can take such a pounding, man.
Well, let's talk a little bit, too, about this racetrack, Larry, and why this track is so competitive tonight when it's been so hard to get a hold of on the old pavement in the past.
Well, it was repaved. You know, they finally, the last time it was resurfaced was back in 1995, and it got to the point they had to put some new pavement down. We would have loved to have kept the racetrack like it was, but the place has so much grip with this new asphalt. But what I like, I think even over the course of this race so far, it started to lose a little bit of grip, and the pace has slowed down just a little bit.
Yeah, it has a little bit. But what I really like is they used the same aggregate that the old pavement had in it, but they mixed it with all these new polymers, which gives it a nice bond that it didn't have before.
Speaking of mix, we got a mixed bag of strategy, Krista. Looks like a lot of leaders came to pit road. Jeff Gordon, the 24, stayed out.
The one at Martin Truex was going to do what leader Denny Hamlin did, so they did come in. They talked about going fuel only, but no, it's a 4-tire change and a slight air pressure adjustment. Dick.
Busch is going to go fuel only. He has done that. They're playing the fuel mileage game. Nat.
Going to make it on one more stop after this. They're going to go a 2-tire change on the 11 and top him off with Sunoco race fuel. Meanwhile, Jeff Gordon said his car had been the best they've been all night. Close call with a 43 of Bobby Labonte entering his stall. That's why Gordon stayed out.
Well, we also see that Dale Earnhardt Jr., the 88, the 48 of Jimmy Johnson, all three Hendrick cars there, they did stay out.
Not sure about this move.
We had about 8 to 9 laps since they were last on pit road on that last caution. I felt like that everybody would come to pit road, but I did feel like maybe we would see some more of that 2-tire stop.
Been a good time to do it, I believe, but also I guess they're looking at their pit window. They know they got to come back one more time.
Yeah, no matter what, we still have one more pit stop to make with 117 laps to go.
Got a NASCAR question anytime? Oh, anything you want to know pops into mind about NASCAR, we've probably got the answer for you. You can get to our panel of experts. Ask the Pros, built by the Home Depot, foxsports.com/AskThePros. Mother's Day tomorrow. Happy Mother's Day to all the mothers out there. Chris Devoda talked to some of the drivers about their moms.
My mom, in a nutshell, has lived her life and tried to pass on to her children really one simple thing. And that's the way I view my mom, and that is do unto others as you had done unto you. And if you do that, you're going to be okay.
I remember growing up, we didn't always have the most money to help fix the race car after we wrecked it, so she was always preaching, make sure you don't tear up that race car.
How she really taught me how to be a compassionate person and understand other people's feelings and what could be hurtful to other people. And that's something that she's instilled in myself and my brothers.
Treat people the way you want to be treated. I think that's basically what it is, and that's probably the best thing she taught me.
Now, the top 7 cars stayed out, including who we're looking here with Carl Edwards in the 99. Jeff Gordon, Dale Earnhardt Jr., Jimmy Johnson, Dave Blaney, Kyle Busch, Carl Edwards, and Travis Kvapil all stayed out. The 8th place car, Kurt Busch, as they made note, fuel only.
And Mike, there's not a mother or a father that hadn't sacrificed so much to get their sons into these races like they are here tonight. So moms would give up their days to make their boys happy.
Back under green with 115 laps to go. Hendrick Chevys 1, 2, 3, Toyotas 4 and 5, Fords 6 and 7. Let's see how this shakes out.
Well, I think what I would say I would have predicted a week before we ever got here is coming true right now. I said before this race ever started, if Dale Jr. wants to win this race, he'll have to beat Jeff Gordon. With 100 laps to go, Jeff Gordon would probably be in the lead, and there he is.
Jeff Gordon came in here just outside the top 12 in points after some pretty rough weekends over the last few races. Right now, as the points are now, he would actually be in the top 10 and 10.
Yeah, he's sitting right there. He's in good shape point-wise. This is one of his favorite tracks.
Can you see any marks on the right side of that car?
Nope.
I don't think so.
Nope. He is one of the best at restraining himself, racing when it counts.
I mean, he has 27 starts here. He has won here 7 times. He has led almost 1,600 laps at this racetrack.
Wow. Kyle Busch passed Dave Blaney. That's 4th place. They're about a 1.5 seconds behind Jeff Gordon, the leader.
You know, right now we have Hendrick cars running 1, 2, 3. Hendrick Motorsports, they have 12 Darlington wins.
Well, it's the guy that's running right there, there in the 18 car. You got to give him a lot of credit, Larry. He has methodically worked his way from the back of the pack after a penalty to here he is fighting.
Well, the Roush cars continue to have issues. First it was Biffle and then Kenseth. Steve, what about Carl?
You know what, Mike? Carl Edwards just said the same thing Matt Kenseth said about 25 laps ago. I feel like I have a loose wheel. It's the exact same thing, but Carl's riding it out right now.
Okay, so now we think we've had 3 Roush Fenway cars that have fight loose wheels. Greg Biffle, we heard his interview. We've heard Matt Kenseth, and now we're hearing Carl Edwards complain about the same thing.
Yeah, well, there's got to be a common denominator somewhere. Could be a lug nut. It could be a lot of the kind of lug nuts. They used to be a lot of things other than just the changer himself.
Yes.
Let's go down to our Ford cutaway car. Jeff Hammond has some of the possibilities.
Well, right now, Mike, when you take a look at one of these one of these wheels has been up on the racetrack tonight, you can see one has already picked up the Darlington stripe. This is actually some of the wall that's stuck inside the wheel between the tire. The Goodyear is gone. Darrell's talked about that all night long. And you've also talked about the durability of this race car. Let me show you why. Last year we talked about 2 befores in behind here. Now it's the Dow Corning barrier that's between this door skin and the roll cage. This is what's keeping these sides off the wheels and giving these guys an opportunity to continue. And one other thing, you want to see what these guys were racing on last year? Well, here's a piece of the original concrete, asphalt, and it looks like concrete with all the white stones in it. Darrell's talked about the fact that he's got a makeover, smooth as silk, also a really deep black finish right now, so it's a lot different than what we've been racing on, guys. But it's still Darlington, and the guys out front, well, his side still looks like mine. Clean, very pretty, and that's the way you want to finish it up tonight.
Thanks, Jeff, but not these 2 cars. Kyle Busch and Dale Earnhardt Jr. have both been up against the wall as 2nd place changes hands. Kyle Busch is coming to the front once again, and another of the Fords has found a little bit of trouble. David Gilliland has been into the wall.
And coming off turn 2 over here, and it gets loose. A lot like what happened to Kevin Harvick, except he's a little further up to he caught the safer barrier instead of the concrete wall.
But Darrell, just a few laps ago when Carl Edwards, this is what Digger had to say. Digger, you better get back in the hole, buddy. There he comes. But when Carl Edwards was up behind David Gilliland, I noticed how loose he was, and finally he got in the wall on turn 2.
And Larry, we've been in the car with Carl a number of times tonight, and he's really working that throttle. In and out, like he's running on a dirt track somewhere.
Steve is still in Carl's pit.
Mike, his crew chief Bob Osborne just radioed to him and said, hey, your teammate Jamie McMurray just described the same sensation. It feels like a loose wheel, but it's not. Just hang in there.
Well, that psychologically might work. I don't know, but what about Matt Kenseth and what about Greg Biffle, my other teammates?
Yeah, Greg Biffle's quote, loose wheel, unquote, left a whole lot of oil in the center of under the car in his pit stall, and Biffle's out of the race. So some sort of component problem on the Roush Fenway cars as Jeff Gordon leads Kyle Busch by a 1.5 seconds.
Hey, I like the way this one's looking. More NASCAR action on Fox.
NASCAR NASCAR Sprint Cup Racing on Fox is delivered by UPS, the official express delivery company of NASCAR.
In Darlington, we have a new leader. Kyle Busch has come back to the lead, and trouble for Casey Mears off turn 4. That car crawling off the corner.
Oh, yeah, he smacked the wall hard right in the middle of 3 and 4 there.
Yeah, Casey was running in the 13th spot, has had a pretty solid car all night long.
It had the look of a right front tire maybe going down because it just shot up in the wall.
No caution. Patrick Carpentier has gone to the garage area, and a lot of smoke out the tailpipes of his car. Here's the pass for the lead just moments ago.
Kyle Busch had been slowly but surely reeling in that 24 car. Jeff Gordon just takes the lead away, going down the back straightaway.
And here's Casey Mears.
He's already smoking getting in there.
I believe he had a tire going down, Daryl. Had all that look about it. The car never turned.
Trying to get it wound up. I think it was the left front tire.
That's what it looks like. Yeah, the left front tire was down and the car never turned.
No caution, just down.
And there goes Dave Blaney in that 22 car. He takes the 4th spot away from Jimmy Johnson in the 48. We can't say enough about this run this 22 car is having. This is a car that missed the race 2 races ago at Talladega. Great run last week, top 20, and here they are up in the top 5 solidly. There's Tommy Baldwin, the crew chief. This has to be such a boost for this whole group.
Got to bring it home. Close the deal. Great cars. Got to bring them home when you got a good one.
But you know, Mike, you mentioned the 10 car Patrick Carpentier that went to the garage area with engine. Jeff Hammond in the pre-race talked about it. We're getting now to that final 100 miles. And these guys put a lot of laps on these engines in those 2 practices. I was nervous about that. I'm not sure we've seen the last of engine attrition.
Well, 2 practices Friday and practices Thursday evening. So you're right, a lot of laps.
Well, see, the guys didn't know they're going to have that Thursday practice. That was added. And so they run a lot of laps here because the track was so different.
Same layout, but brand new pavement. Much smoother surface at Darlington than we've seen before.
And the pace is much quicker. I mean, in the past here, we'd slow down 3 or 4 seconds in a run. And here we're only dropping off maybe a second.
Now, Kurt Busch in the 2 who did fuel only. Denny Hamlin in the 11. They just drove by Jimmy Johnson. So the 48 car is definitely starting to slide backwards.
Yeah, I was a little bit worried about Larry, but staying out that last time, I'm not sure that was a good move.
The good thing is, though, right now, our top 5, they are cars that stayed out. Kyle Busch, Jeff Gordon, Earnhardt Jr., Blaney, and Edwards. And we're about 25 laps away from what could possibly be these guys' last pit stop.
So the prophecy earlier of Greg Biffle's spotter goes unfulfilled when he told Biffle, let Kyle Busch go. He won't be there at the end. Well, Biffle is in the garage, and Kyle Busch is leading.
I'd have to tip my hat to Kyle Busch tonight again if he can survive this joint. The way he drives, as aggressive as he is, and the way this racetrack is, if he can come out here tonight with a win or a top 2 or 3 finish, that's a great job after going to the rear of the field.
Well, right now, Busch and Carl Edwards and Kurt Busch are the quickest cars on the racetrack last time by.
And what Daryl's talking about, Kyle Busch, who had led a lot of this race about 130 laps ago, had a lug nut loose on one of his wheels under caution. NASCAR brought him back in. They had to put the lug nut on there. It was missing. Had to start back in 2030. Took him about 120 laps, but he's back in the lead now.
And Krista told us that team had lug nut issues on both rear tires this evening. The 2 prior times, the tire changer had got another lug nut on and got it tightened before the car pulled away. 3rd time they didn't.
And you know, we continue to hear all these lug nut issues as Jimmy Johnson continues to slide backwards. David Reagan in the 6 car just goes by him. Truex Jr. in the 1 car is now pulling up on the back bumper. But I think the big thing we never make note of enough is these guys are trying to change 4 tires that dump 18.5 gallons of Sunoco race fuel in about 12, 13 seconds. And there's the caution, debris on the backstretch.
That debris could have been A.J. Allmendinger. He comes down here with most of the right side askew on his
he's got
Toyota.
Look like a right rear tire down maybe.
There's A.J. did a good job qualifying for this race and was a lap down, running in 24th.
Now we've got 19 cars on the lead lap. It's been about 30 laps since that last caution. I think this will put everyone even again. They will come to pit road for 4 tires, fuel, and adjustments. Still, you can't make it to the end. We still would have a one-stop race.
Casey Kane moves back onto the lead lap. He gets the free pass.
Ah, and the plot thickens.
On his 6th caution of the night. Kyle Busch has now led over 1,200 laps in NASCAR's National Touring Series, Sprint Cup, Nationwide, and Craftsman Truck.
Unbelievable. That's all I can say.
And you know, he missed the truck race at Kansas, but he'll be back in the truck Friday night at Lowe's Motor Speedway. Of course, a truck race like the All-Star race, both those races will be aired on Speed.
And I wonder, during this green run, did he get up and catch and pass Jeff Gordon, or did Jeff see him coming, let him go?
I tell you, we're just not quite in Jeff Gordon's window yet.
I think you're right.
That's my take.
I think we got to get to about 50 to go.
I believe so. I think he's going to let that boy see. Let's see if that boy can beat himself before I have to try to beat him.
Perhaps the wild card here is Dave Blaney in the 22, looking for his first ever Sprint Cup win.
I don't think we've heard the last of that Mountain Dew car either.
And a good night for Carl Edwards, Kurt Busch, Denny Hamlin, and David Reagan. Pit stops. Krista.
Kyle Busch did not pit back on lap 249. This time he said he needs some help turning. They're going to fix that with a wedge adjustment. He said he's not bad about a 2, but let's fix it. Steve?
Krista, Carl Edwards didn't pit on the last stop either, but he does now. He's going to get 4 tires. He said to Bob Osborne, I'm just a little tight. Dick.
Dave Blaney, the underdog, lost 5 positions the last time he hit pit road. The crew determined that's not going to happen again. He's going to try the wrench in the back window. Matt.
Dale Earnhardt Jr. chasing his first Darlington wins. The car is good at 3 and 4, but he needs it to turn better off of turns 1 and 2. They're close. Meanwhile, Gordon's service already complete. He says his car is both pushing and loose, but it's the best it has been all night. Air pressure adjustment for the 24.
I would be willing to bet you see all those spots at the 07 Clint Boyer. Looks like to me Gil Martin rode the dice. 2 tires on that 07.
Saw a lot of brake dust out of the right front of that 18 car. Ooh, that looks like a lot of dust for here.
We'll update the Kyle Busch brake situation when we come back.
NASCAR Sprint Cup Racing on Fox is sponsored by Hanes. Look who we've got our Hanes on now. By non-drowsy Claritin allergy products. By the Home Depot, NASCAR's home improvement warehouse. And by Frost Brewed Coors Light, the world's most refreshing beer.
Ready for the restart in Darlington. Here's Kyle Busch's pit stop. Watch when the right front comes off. Look at all the brake dust even before that wheel comes off.
Still, there's a bunch up in the wheel itself. That's like short track.
That's
Martinsville
exactly
kind
what
of
you'd
brake
see
dust.
at Martinsville or Richmond.
And a big conference in Kyle Busch's pits. There's the coach, Joe Gibbs, in the white shirt. And Krista, because they're having lug nut issues again.
And still, Mike, yep, there's the coach huddling up his team, talking about the issue. It's been a lug nut issue, specifically a glue issue all night. They're just not sticking to the wheels. At least 5 have fallen off. They've caught them most of the time.
Ready to go green. Jeff Gordon leading Kyle Busch, then Dale Jr., Carl Edwards, and David Reagan. Green flag at Darlington, 83 laps to go.
And just to follow up on what Krista's talking about, hold the glue on these wheels with like a weather strip adhesive. And I do think that teams continue to play with something that they may think is a little bit better than just that yellow weather strip adhesive you buy at a hardware store.
That yellow stuff can get in the threads, and it can kind of gald up the lug nuts sometimes. So they might be trying some different stuff. What do you got, Jeff?
Daryl, I actually got the lug nut glue you're talking about. This is what a lot of the teams are using. It's called the Norton glue, and you can see what we're talking about. It's very, very kind of rubbery, you might say. What the guys do, they come in, they will actually put it on the lug nut like so, all the way around. This is what holds this lug nut in place. And if it doesn't bond properly, again, it'll fall off. And when it does, this $1.25 lug nut can cost you an awful lot. But a lot of times you can get a bad batch of glue. Not necessarily that that's the case, but a lot of times that's one place you got to look at real quick.
I tell you what you better look at real quick is that 24 car, Jeff Gordon sliding backwards. He restarted, he had the lead. Now he's falling all the way back to 4th, about to fall in the clutches of David Reagan in the 6th.
Yeah, I'm not sure. He's got a good car on a long run, I guess, is because this thing isn't doing anything on this restart.
Well, Kyle Busch is now the leader. And we're told they've tried several different, car in the wall.
6.
Bounced right off. David Reagan keeps going, but loses speed down the front straightaway. I said Kyle Busch's team has tried several different adhesives. In that huddle, I saw Jay Berry, who owns Airborne Coatings, and so he's an expert in powder coating and adhesives and those kind of things. So it's a mystery down there in Kyle Busch's pit, but he is leading this race.
Now, when you look at the Tony Stewart, the 20 car, what's so important about him staying where he's at right now, remember, he was involved in that crash on lap 2. Right now, if he gets a caution, this would put him only 1 lap down. So it's important that that 20 car stays in front of that leader.
I think when you think of the first lap of the race, he's in the wall, big time.
Hey, speaking in the wall, our leader just got into the wall hard off turn 2, Kyle Busch in the 18.
And we're right back where we were last Saturday night with Kyle Busch and Dale Earnhardt Jr. battling for the lead.
See, that's the thing about this car, though. These guys have already figured out. See, this pop loose, I guess is what he's saying.
Hit your mark, Steve.
They've all figured out you don't have to slow down. Hit the wall, keep gassing it up. Ooh, that is huge. Oh, no. Killed that thing.
And you saw Jeff earlier show us a wheel that had chunks of the concrete from the wall wedged between the wheel and the bead of the tire. That's not good for balance, pressure, or other things.
That's unbelievable that you can climb the wall like that with a car and it'll keep on running as good as he seems to be running.
You know, I know we've got Kyle Busch and Dale Earnhardt Jr. battling each other for the lead, but the guy we better watch is that 99 car, Carl Edwards. He just ran his fastest lap of the race. He's sitting back there in 3rd. Remember, Carl Edwards started this race in 36th position.
And Carl did such a cool thing here a couple of weeks ago. He flew his plane down to Spartanburg, picked up David Pearson, who's won more races here than anybody, flew David here to Darlington to the racetrack. Leonard Wood was waiting, and the 21 Mercury that Pearson won a lot of those races in was right here. Pearson hopped into the Mercury. Carl hopped into his Roush Fenway Ford. They ran a bunch of laps and traded notes. So when you got the Silver Fox in your corner, that's a pretty good thing to have here at Darlington.
Yes, it is. Right now, he's about a 10th of a lap faster than Dale Earnhardt Jr. sitting in 2nd, who we're riding with right now, as we've got 75 laps to go.
I've been watching race cars my whole life. I've just never seen them climb the wall the way they do, knock the wall down the way they do, and never slow down.
Carol, folks have asked why we don't run alloy wheels in NASCAR. That hit that you just saw that car take into the wall, an alloy wheel would have exploded. A steel wheel maybe gets bent a little bit, but it still retains that tire on the bead, and you keep on going.
You can believe everything that's been done to these race cars for 50 years is all about endurance. We run 500 miles and we hit the wall. Obviously, you got to have someone there that'll take a licking and keep on ticking.
And endurance is this place's middle name.
Now that right there is quite a battle back there for about 12th between Burton the 31, Martin the 8, McMurray the 26, and Quapple the 28.
Kyle Busch holding off Dale Earnhardt Jr. 9/10 of a second is Busch's lead. 74 laps to go.
NASCAR and Fox in Darlington, 67 laps to go. They've been racing here since 1950. 23-year-old Kyle Busch scraping the wall once again, trying to be the youngest winner in the history of this track. Our Sprint Monster moment. After Saturday night, he was booed during driver introductions, but Kyle quickly taking the lead early from Dale Earnhardt Jr. We got a wreck with 66 to go.
See the 11 car right there. Denny Hamlin goes around. Caution is on the speedway.
Let's rejoin Darrell, Larry, and Mike.
Hey, what happened down there was that one car, the 1 and the 11 got together and took the 11 out, or spun the 11 around. I think it hurt the 1 more than it did the 11, although it hurt them both, I think.
They were battling for 7th position.
Just got into him right there. I'm not sure what that was all about. One car just kind of ran over the 11.
David Gilliland Nice evasive maneuver. Boy, Hamlin had been having a good run, and so had Truex to that point.
I think it actually hurt the one car
a lot more than the 11.
Yeah, I think the 11 is actually front tires are locked up and the rear tires are smoking.
Caution's a big break for Kasey Kahne, who stays on the lead lap, and I believe David Gilliland will get the free pass. This is the 8th caution flag of the night, and it comes out, Larry, with 65 laps to go.
It's just outside of that pit window, but I still think we have to see these guys come to pit road to possibly get their last set of tires and fill that thing up with fuel and see where the race pace goes and see if you can make it to the end.
Smoke got a lap back.
So now he'll be 1 lap down.
And that's a big deal because you can be running 20th with cars that are 21st with cars that are 1 lap down. So that's a big move.
So there will be 4 cars 1 lap down: Vickers, Waltrip, Montoya, and Stewart when we go back to green. There will be 21 cars on the lead lap. 65 laps to go in the Dodge Challenger 500. And Kyle Busch, after a penalty for leaving a lug nut off on the rear, has fought his way back to the lead. Let's see if he can keep it through pit stops. Krista.
That's right, Mike. The crew needs these lug nuts to stick to the wheel. Kyle needs his car to stick to the track. He says where he was tight, he is now loose. He is losing side bite. They're making a slight chassis adjustment, and it's going to be a 4-tire stop for Kyle. Steve.
Carl Edwards says he's just a little bit tight. An 1/8 of a round of bite out of the right rear for Carl Edwards. 4 tires. Matt.
Teams can go the distance from here. Dale Earnhardt Jr. said the car was really slick on that last run. Maybe they went a little too far on the air pressure adjustment, but they're very close. Jeff Gordon said that sticker tires, which they were on the last run, he said the car was chattering the front, meaning he was pushing. He's away. He's not going to win the battle off pit road.
Jeff Gordon almost gets into it with David Reagan there.
Ooh, he did.
And Kyle Busch will hold the front spot.
Tell you what, Jimmy Finning, that 6 group, they did change 4 tires. They gained 2 spots. They're back in the top 5.
The plot thickens in Darlington.
NASCAR Sprint Cup Racing on Fox is sponsored by Subway, where Tony Stewart goes to fuel up. Subway, race hard, eat fresh. By Craftsman. Craftsman tools are the official tools of NASCAR. Craftsman at Sears. By State Farm, where great coverage meets great rates. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there. And by Sprint, welcome to the 2008 NASCAR Sprint Cup Series. Speed is beautiful. Back to our Sprint Mobile Monster moment, and Kyle Busch aggressive here with Kyle Busch. This is for first. Kyle leading 5 different times in this race, but remember, lost 22 spots as far back as 29th because of a loose lug nut. Those problems well documented here. Passing Jeff Gordon, leading more than 100 laps in this race, currently leading with 62 laps to go. But Jeff, the way he keeps scraping the wall, it may have an effect before this race runs out.
Look at the right rear of this race car. All of a sudden, the right rear tire is protruding outside of the body. He's complaining about the car losing side bite. Well, Larry and Darrell, we all know that if you lose that aerodynamic downforce, hey, you're going to lose some side force.
Yeah, he's got something to help him, though.
What's that, Darrell?
The wall.
He's got about 3 races worth of decal wrap that he's worn through there.
Jeff, I don't know if you can see from where you were, but when he came off turn 2, he climbed the wall. I thought he was going to kill that car.
Getting set for the restart with Kyle Busch in command. He has now led the most laps in this race, 108 of them. Greg Biffle led 95, Dale Jr. led 35, and Jeff Gordon has led 24 laps tonight.
But you know, Mike, back in the day, I come to think of it, back in the day when you were coming to Darlington, we beefed up the right side of the car so we could slam into the wall. So they got it fixed that way for these cars, I reckon.
Now, Mike, these guys pitted on lap 303 with 64 laps to go. It seems that maybe just outside the pit window, what we had is 2 or 3 guys kind of at the back of the lead lap, like Scott Riggs, Kasey Kahne, and Kurt Busch. They came to pit road under 1 to go and topped off. I believe, though, we've seen the race pace slow down enough that they probably, most of them, can make it should we not get another caution, but I wouldn't bank on that one.
Add David Gilliland and Bobby Labonte to that list of drivers who filled up, and May Gamble. So we're ready for our Clear to Drive restart with 21 cars on the lead lap. Live Claret and Clear, indoors and out. Kyle Busch, Carl Edwards, Jeff Gordon, Toyota, Ford, Chevrolet to bring them around. Green flag.
60 laps to go.
Larry, you think it's going to be close on fuel for some of these lead cars?
I think it's going to be real close because one thing, I think these first few laps on these fresh tires, I think some of these guys may lay down some of their faster laps of the race. Fuel window is somewhere between 58 and 62 laps to go. We get the restart with 60 to go.
I think you're going to be fine, Larry.
Seems like the pace has slowed down enough.
I believe he can make it.
Carl Edwards in second place ran his fastest lap of the race.
See, that's
20 ago.
That's the difference of me and Larry. I got hair because I figured we could make it. He's got hair because he always figured we couldn't. I mean, he doesn't have any hair because they always figured we couldn't.
Now Carl Edwards, David Reagan, they just ran their fastest laps of the race on that lap at lap 309.
Something going on with the 6-car, guys?
Yeah, from what we're hearing, he's another of the Roush Fenway cars to have trouble, Steve.
Yeah, Mike, just wanted to make it unanimous. Reagan is another Roush Fenway driver who says he's feeling a vibration in the front end. He also said he needed air pressure in both front tires on that last stop.
We just saw Tony Stewart in that 20 car. What Tony's trying to do, and he's only one car away from it, is become the first car a lap down. Wasn't but a few laps ago. He was 2 laps down, got one of them back by being out front of the leader when that last caution.
Yeah, he's got to get up there and get after Brian Vickers, who's 2 or 3 cars ahead of him to get back in the lucky dog position, the free pass position. But that car is running pretty good right now.
Here comes Blaney. That's that yellow blur on the inside. Dave Blaney and David Reagan for 5th place.
Yeah, Dave Blaney in the 22, they continue to give up just 1 or 2 spots on pit road, and you just can't do that, not late in the race. You at least got to break even. If nothing else, gain some spots.
Blaney came oh so close to getting his first Cup win driving for Bill Davis some years ago at Atlanta. Didn't quite happen.
This is a battle right here between Martin Truex Jr. in the 1, Jimmy Johnson in the 48. This is a battle for 7th. Johnson will take the position away.
Boy, the 9 car here just bottled everybody up. I think he almost lost it off turn 4. Big wad.
Let's see what happened to Casey Kane here. Watch the 9.
Whoa. 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 That was almost disastrous.
You want to see a busy man? Watch this.
You're going to see some hands, I'm telling you.
Inside, inside, inside. Another one coming inside. You got it. You're good.
That was a wreck that just didn't quite happen.
One thing we've seen with this, let's watch his hands here. Watch his action. He's recovered nicely. He's calm now.
He's 21st. He's still on the lead lap.
That's what I've seen a number of these cars do, though, is just snap loose. They just kind of almost like jump out from under the guy. Unexpected. What happened to Kevin Harvick? A couple others I've seen do that.
Well, Rowdy Busch is running away from Carl Edwards. 1.4 seconds is the lead that he has built up since the restart 6 laps ago.
Carl Edwards is just a little bit quicker, it seems like, about a 10th a lap over the last 3 or 4 laps. Riding with Carl here in the 99 car, started back in 36th position.
Steve?
Well, Mike, Carl Edwards said before the restart that he was going to take it easy early in this run. They are very close on fuel, and he also said he wanted to save his car for the end of the race.
Nice job.
And with the speeds they're running right now, Darrell, this is definitely not in conservation mode as far as fuel.
No, we're down in the 28-second bracket. This is as fast as we've been all night. Of course, that's what, you know, you got 50 laps to go. You give it all you got.
It's time to go.
I don't think Rowdy Busch buys into this saving for a rainy day, because we don't race on rainy days.
No,
we don't.
I don't think he holds back anything.
How about Dale Jr. in 4th place, Matt?
You can hear a little bit of the frustration in Junior's voice. He came on the radio about 6 laps ago and says, we are just chattering the front. We are pushing badly.
One thing I noticed when I did drive this track yesterday, particularly off of turn 4, you really could get the tires chattering if you got in the wrong spot as you exit that corner. You got to be right up next to that outside wall.
Now, we've been talking about Tony Stewart in the 20 car. Remember, qualified in 4th on lap 3, was involved in an accident in turn 1 and 2 with Elliott Sadler. Went 2 laps down. He got 1 back on the last caution. That right there between the 83 and Brian Vickers, Tony Stewart in the 20, that's a battle to get back the first car a lap down. And I've been watching his lap times. He's about as fast as the leaders, Tony Stewart.
Let's take you back to lap 3 as Sadler and Stewart fought for position going into turn 1.
Sadler gets a little loose and just drives Tony right into the wall. I mean, again, that should have destroyed his race car.
But both cars were able to continue. Sadler spent 100 laps in the garage, but he is back out there.
Yeah, everyone that's been repairing their car in the garage is back out on the racetrack. We've got 48 laps to go. We have 41 cars out on the racetrack. The only cars out, the 10 car, Patrick Compartier with an engine failure, and Greg Biffle in the 16 with mechanical problems.
Well, I think 2 of the big comeback stories tonight is definitely the 18 car overcoming that penalty, and here he sits with a pretty good opportunity to win this race. Tony Stewart just needs an opportunity here to get back on the lead lap, and you'd hear some more from him, I believe.
I tell you, Tony ran that 83 car down Brian Vickers, but Brian Vickers is not rolling over. Remember, Brian Vickers was involved in the accident coming on to pit road with the 12 car a few laps ago.
And then spun on the front straightaway.
He's
off turn 4.
Had a very exciting night.
Yeah. So there's the battle for free pass position. While Stewart's teammate Kyle Busch now leads Carl Edwards by 1.6 seconds with 46 to go.
Oh, the plot thickens. Stay tuned for more NASCAR on Fox.
Kyle Busch has opened it up to 1.9 seconds over Carl Edwards as you watch from our aerial coverage provided by Goodyear for track tested technology. Get there on Goodyear Innovation.
I'll tell you what, I'd like to be at the shop Monday when they tear that thing down. That car, I'd like to see it. I'd like to see how they had it fixed so that that nothing would fall off of it as many times as he hit the wall with it tonight.
Well, the problem has been trying to slow Kyle Busch down. Listen to what Jeff Dickerson, his spotter, told him a few laps ago.
I know you're digging, dude, but we got to take care of that thing over there. You're scaring the fans. There's not enough security at the turn 2 wall here. Just nice and easy.
If logic doesn't work, try humor.
That's right.
Right now, he has built his lead to over 2 seconds over Carl Edwards in the 99 car with 38 laps to go.
Driving a car that he earlier described as the most pathetic thing he's driven in his entire life.
Yeah, I think I'd have called him back and said, hey, dude, I've already tried to destroy this thing. There ain't no way.
And you know, we have been following the free pass position. Tony Stewart in the 20 car battling Brian Vickers in the 83 just a few laps ago. Tony put himself in position now. He is the first car a lap down back in 22nd. Obviously, he wants a caution. The question is, how many other cars need a caution because maybe they don't have enough fuel to make it to the end?
Well, I tell you what, Larry, that first time in, they got the tow a little bit better than it was when he wrecked. And then that second time in, they got it right, and he's been fast ever since.
Clint Boyer, last week's winner, caught the wall again.
He was running 15th right before he hit the wall. He just got passed by Scott Riggs and Kurt Busch.
What a difference a year makes for Toyota. Since joining Joe Gibbs Racing, look at the laps they have led this year. 381 of those were Hamlin's last week, compared to all of 2007. 167 laps led.
And you know, I think we've got to give a call to the Toyota teams that went through the building last year of that manufacturer. Certainly As our boss David Hill says, a rising tide lifts all ships. Certainly you look tonight at Dave Blaney, Bill Davis Racing, who actually helped Toyota get their start in NASCAR about 5 years ago. Dave Blaney sitting there running 5th, and we've got David Ruderman of Michael Waltrip Racing sitting there running 19th right now.
Yeah, I tell you, the Gibbs guys just added that one little ingredient that they lacked. I don't know if it was organization. I don't know what it was, engine program, chassis. I'm not sure what they added to what was already there, but it made a huge difference.
There's where they're running with Hamlin in 9th, and what a great job Stewart has done. Hamlin about to be 8th as he passes Jimmy Johnson. What a great job Tony Stewart has done after getting crashed on the 3rd lap. He has fought his way back on to the lead lap. That's the way you win championships.
And you know, there was so much question, I think, from the fans, especially the Joe Gibbs fans, the Tony Stewart fans, the Denny Hamlin fans. Why would Joe Gibbs Racing leave General Motors that they had won 3 championships with in all those races? Because Joe Gibbs and J.D. Gibbs, they knew no matter how many races, how many championships they won, they would always be the 3rd or 4th spoke in the wheel behind Hendrick, Childress, and possibly DEI at General Motors. I said all along, even money-wise, if it was a lateral move, this was a great move just simply by being the biggest fish in the pond with Toyota.
Stewart just passed the 2nd place car, Edwards, and let me correct, he is not back on the lead lap, but he would be if a caution comes out, or if he passes his teammate Kyle Busch on the racetrack.
But either way, he needs a caution to get back in contention.
But either way, he's done a great job. What happened to the 1 car, guys?
Well, he hit the wall and was passed by Jamie McMurray and by the 28 of Travis Kvapil, and he goes back after Kvapil.
And you know, Jamie McMurray is another one of those cars, the 26 car, that has just kept his nose clean and his side clean, and now he's worked his way into the top 10.
Here's what happened to Truex to take a few more of the decals off the side of his number 1. And McMurray goes by as Truex rights himself.
I wish I'd have been smart enough back in the day to put foam in my right side door. Dadgum, that would have been.
30 laps to go. Kyle Busch leading Carl Edwards and Jeff Gordon, and will we need one more pit stop? That's the question.
Kyle Busch right now 3 1/4 seconds in front of Carl Edwards. We've been talking a lot about the Roush Fenway woes with lug nuts. David Reagan in the 6 car, he actually just passed Dave Blaney a lap ago, and that moved David back into the top 5. This kid just keeps getting better and better and better. This would be my wild card next week in the All-Star Showdown to win the race and transfer to the All-Star race.
Well, we've talked about how young drivers often don't get much of a chance to perform at the top level of NASCAR. It's either you have it and you're quick out of the box right away like that guy, Denny Hamlin, or you don't. Jack Roush gave David Reagan enough time to mature as a driver at this level, and he's being rewarded. Reagan has really come into his own.
Darrell, like we've said, we like that old crew chief he's put him with, Jimmy Finney.
Smart guy.
This one's starting to look like a sequel. More NASCAR on Fox to come.
Here's what's coming up tonight on Fox. We have 24 laps to go at Darlington, South Carolina. On the Fox ticker, you see Kyle Busch leading Carl Edwards by 2.8 seconds. Jeff Gordon and Dale Earnhardt Jr. close together, and then the Fords of Reagan and Kenseth, the Toyotas of Blaney and Hamlin, the Chevy of Jimmy Johnson, and the Ford of Jamie McMurray and Travis Kvapil. The big question is, can the leaders make it on fuel? Let's start with Krista.
The 18 says they can make it. Kyle Busch says he's good to go.
And I think that's good news for everyone, because as I've looked back through the history of the green flag runs we've had tonight that led to green flag stops, it seemed like the Toyotas were, as a whole, as well as the Dodges, which we really don't have a Dodge a factor right now, were the first ones to hit pit road. It looked like possibly the Chevrolets and the Fords were running a little bit further than the Toyotas.
Steve, what about Carl Edwards?
Mike, good news, bad news for Carl Edwards. The good news is he can make it. The bad news is he's a little bit tight. Matt Yoakum.
Now, as far as the Chevrolet goes, from the Hendrick camp, the 24 of Gordon and the 88 of Dale Jr. both can make it on fuel. No concern there. The bigger issue is just the handling. Gordon's gone big time to the tight side. Meanwhile, Jr., he's fighting a car that's taking a big swing from tight to loose, Steve.
And Matt, just an update on David Reagan there in the 6 car. He too can make it to the end.
Well, but it sounds like that right now the handling is really starting to go away on all these cars. We've got a lot of rubber down on the track. The track is really cooled down, and I think that's got a lot of these front ends not working, and the cars are just not turning.
Not counting the fact that the guys are getting a little bit tired, because this is a long, hard race without a lot of cautions. Really been up on the wheel tonight.
Matt Kenseth 6th, Dave Blaney 7th. In contention all night. Dick?
Blaney's lost a couple of spots, Mike, because the car has gone tight since the last pit stop. Virtually every 10 or 12 laps, crew chief Tommy Baldwin has told Blaney to save fuel. It will be very close as to whether he can make it or not.
And that's one of the Toyotas that I was talking about.
Look at Tony Stewart. He is flying. He might be the fastest car on the racetrack, and he may get his lap back on his own the hard way.
Oh, by all means, he's the fastest cat out there. He has chased Kyle Busch down from a mile back, and he's closing up here. He can get back on the lead lap all by himself. Incredible that they've been able to fix that car and get it up there and competitive as it is.
Yeah, considering he's working on cracking the top 20, what it looked like on lap 3, laid up against the wall, turn 1.
I thought it was going to be a bad, points night for him. He'd be in the garage, but they worked on it and fixed it.
Darrell, how hard to retain your focus when you get knocked out of contention on lap 3 at a place as demanding as this?
Well, the good thing is, you got all night to work on it. You got all night to maybe get back in there somehow if you can. So that's the good news. You don't want it to happen at the end of the night.
I believe the car that the handling has went away the most here in the closing stages of this race, Jimmy Johnson in the 48 car, he continues to lose positions. That's a battle with Jamie McMurray in the 26 for 10th, and you see Jeff Burton in the 31 right there behind him as well, as we'll be coming to 16 laps to go next time.
Yeah, that 48 car has just had a rough week. They qualified 3rd. That's pretty good. About the only good thing that's happened to them since they've been down here.
Yeah, wrecked twice yesterday. Had to go to a backup car.
$17 laps to go for Kyle Busch, driving a car that in the first 100 miles of this race, you see those brakes glowing cherry red. Said he had no brakes. He had a car that would not turn at all. Everything but the kitchen sink was wrong with that car in the first 100 miles, and now he's 3.5 seconds up on Carl Edwards.
Yeah, he's one of the few cars still can run a lap down in the 29s this deep into a run.
He's if I were the crew chief, I'd say, look, dude, just trust me from now on, will you?
Yeah, because actually with 15 laps to go now and over a 3-second lead, I believe I would definitely take the advice of my spotter, Jeff Dickerson, and a little conservative here, especially maybe if they're close on fuel as well.
Close the deal. He's been doing a pretty darn good job of it. There's 48 dropping another spot.
Now Jeff Burton just kicked Jimmy Johnson out of the top 10, and he and Jamie McMurray now fight for 11th. And Kurt Busch coming back into that picture along with Martin Truex.
Haven't heard much about Kurt all night, but here he is. He's moved up into 13th spot.
Darrell, he's going to get his best finish since the Daytona 500 if this keeps up.
That's amazing.
And the thing about Kurt Busch, we've been talking about all the drivers and teams make it, can't make it. Kurt Busch, the 2-car, Roy McCauley, or actually Pat Tryson, they came to pit road and topped off. That was one of the cars that did top off with fuel when we got the 1 to go.
13 laps left.
It's been an interesting night though, with the track and the repaving and the way the cars have bounced off the wall, the different leaders we've had. It's been a really interesting night. Fun race to watch, and there's not been a lot of caution flags. A lot of green flag, hard racing.
And if you watch those 4 practice sessions, 2 on Thursday, 2 on Friday, I don't think we would have ever believed we would only had 8 cautions and we would have 41 cars of the 43 still out on the racetrack now with 12 laps to go.
I mean, everybody was saying, oh, it's going to be a crash fest. It'll be yellow fever all night long, and we really haven't seen that.
But it was what we expected, and at the start of the race, had a couple of cautions in quick succession. 8 cautions on the night, but 15 different leaders, 35 lead changes. And Krista, Kyle has now led 157 laps.
And Mike, they still think they're okay on fuel. They told Kyle, hey, just kind of roll with it just to be safe, but they think they're going to be 2 laps ahead. But they did say about 10 laps ago, hey, Kyle, I know you're trying to take care of that thing. Could you just take care of it a little more?
Yeah, I would say he could knock about another couple of tenths a lap at. I watched him. He got down to about a 30 flat, a 30-10. Last lap, 29.81. Picked back up 2 tenths.
And I noticed as he came down the straightaway there, Larry, Jeff was pointing out about his right rear tire sticking out from under the body. It's sticking way out there. He doesn't need to be getting that up against the wall anymore.
This is a battle for 4th right here between Dale Earnhardt Jr. and that 88 car, looking back at the guy that's trying to reel him in, David Reagan, in that 6 car.
I tell you, Dale Jr. was so happy with his car all weekend long. I just thought he was going to have it's not a bad night. He's going to finish 4th or 5th here, but I thought he would be a little stronger than that.
And David Reagan is going to climb into the top dozen in the Sprint Cup standings tonight.
That's amazing. That's really exciting for him.
And there comes Matt Kenseth in that 17 car. Has had just a terrible weekend here. Qualified back in the 34th position. And right now he's got his sights set on maybe what might be only his 2nd top 5 of 2008.
And Larry, as I said earlier, if he's going to get back in the chase, if he's going to get in condition to get in the chase, he's going to have a lot of nights like this.
I think Jimmy Johnson in this 48, he's ready to see a checkered flag on this thing. He continues to slide backwards. Again, a backup car he's in. 2 crashes yesterday. 8 laps to go.
Last night on a late restart, fuel mileage was certainly an issue. One of the lead cars sputtered for lack of fuel and stacked the field up behind him.
And that was actually Mark Martin driving for Junior Motorsports. Mark Martin, we've not mentioned him tonight. Right now, he stayed on the lead lap of that 8 car back in the 15th position.
Yeah, and kind of interesting with Mark Martin, he never has a problem with the car. He never tears one up. He tore one up in practice, and then, of course, it wasn't his fault. But on that restart, he got wiped out.
6 to go next time by for Kyle Busch.
He has about built his lead now to almost 4 seconds over Carl Edwards in the 99 car.
Team cars here.
5th and 6th place, Reagan and Kenseth.
And they are right there on Dale Jr. too. They're closing up fast on him with that 41. Won't get out of the way. Junior's going to try to get by him on the inside here, looks like.
Five laps to go. Kyle Busch's night has read like a movie script. The car didn't have any brakes. The car wouldn't turn. He bounced it off the wall. They dropped a lug nut. They dropped another one. They dropped one and got penalized. They dropped another one and put it back on. Hollywood couldn't come up with a night like this for a race car driver, but here he is, overcoming the penalty and all. Kyle Busch back to the lead and pulling away.
You can't overcome talent. I mean, when you have the kind of talent this kid has, you just about got to take the car and lock it up in the garage to keep him from winning.
We've got 4 laps to go, about 3.5 laps to go for Kyle Busch.
I'm just hoping and praying that when he gets out of the car tonight, he'll have something nice to say, because his driving is impeccable. And when he gets out of the car, that's questionable.
You know, certainly it has paid off.
There's 3 right here.
It has certainly paid off for Rick Hendrick to get Dale Earnhardt Jr. over there in that camp. He has almost carried the Hendrick banner most of the year, but I said all along that whoever got Kyle Busch, that was going to be the real winner in all this trading of drivers headed into 2008, and he's not let me down. As right now, he's about 2.5 laps away from what will be his 3rd win of 2008.
If you can't learn something from Rick Hendrick and Joe Gibbs,
you 2 right here, bud.
You ain't never going to learn.
2 to go.
And Krista, it sounds like Kyle has been pretty silent on the radio these last 50 miles.
Yeah, I don't know if 500 miles here in Darlington, if he's lost his voice or what, but we have not heard from Kyle Busch. He has been very quiet and very consistent in that race car. I think he is just ready to get this thing over with and celebrate in victory lane.
I think, Krista, what happened to him, I think he did so much whining and complaining early in the race there that they just finally told him. They may have turned his radio off.
Man, here it is.
White flag.
Easy, buddy, easy.
And remember, he came in here our points leader after finishing second at Richmond. He'll certainly stretch that points lead out because right now, Jeff Burton in the 31 car is running back in the 10th position.
His fourth try.
How proud of you guys I am.
His fourth try at Darlington. His first checkered flag. Kyle Busch wins the Dodge Challenger 500.
My goodness. Who would have thunk it?
Carl Edwards comes home second. Jeff Gordon is coming home third. There you see Dale Earnhardt Jr. fourth. And how about that battle for fifth between teammates David Reagan and Matt Kenseth? Quite a battle down to the wire. There's the man of the hour right there. We just saw him. Kyle Busch in 18 gets a little thumbs up from Carl Edwards in the 99.
Thanks, Jeff. You're my hero, buddy.
Talking to a spotter there.
Great job, Wild Thing. Proud of you.
I think that name's going to stick.
I think we need to play that song when they introduce him next week for the All-Star race.
Yeah, like when Charlie Sheen would come out on the field in Major League.
This is typical Joe Gibbs right here. There he is right in the middle of them. He rallied his troops together there about halfway through the race. Great coach. Great coaches can get great people to do great things.
His 8th win of the year in a NASCAR National Touring Series. Kyle Busch will go to victory lane at Darlington. How about that?
Promotional consideration provided by the fastest Darlington race ever, won by 23-year-old Kyle Busch, the youngest driver ever to win at Darlington. Our Matt Yoakum is down there with him in victory lane. Matt?
He took a bow on the front stretch. You bounced off the wall more times than we could count. You had a penalty, lug nut issues. You saw just about everything tonight. What does it mean to win a crown jewel event here at Darlington?
This is pretty awesome. Darlington's obviously showed again tonight that it's one of the hardest places, always has been, always will be. And even with the fresh asphalt, this place is tough. And so I just can't thank this M&M's Joe Gibbs Racing Toyota team enough. You know, they did an awesome job. And we're going to go through an awful lot of Mack tools here this week fixing this thing, but that's okay. And you know, it's just an awesome win for us. I just can't thank these guys enough. And preparing such a great race car, and the lap cars at the end were great. They gave me all the room in the world, so it's pretty cool.
Who kept you in this game mentally? Your spotter was talking to you, trying to get you to calm down. Steve Addington, everybody.
Everybody did their part. Anybody who was on the radio. So Addington did a great job, crew chief, in making great race calls, and Jeff Dickerson up top, man, he's my savior every week. So he's a pretty awesome dude. And I thought that
Steve Addington gets it.
I thought that was Dickerson. Usually when Dickerson gets in here, he gets a bat too. So
what about that pathetic car?
Man, it just doesn't turn. It doesn't want to do what it needs to do here, especially and this place became aero-tight. I mean, it just became one of those aero-sensitive racetracks because there's only one lane you can run around this place. That's the fast way around. And anytime you got to get by somebody, you just got to save your stuff and try to maneuver past them somehow, some way. But it's hard to do. And yeah. Again, Joe Gibbs Racing, Toyota Racing Engines, and you know, TRD, everybody that helps out on this thing. And SNOS Energy Drink's pretty refreshing too.
Congratulations. A good gulp there by Kyle Busch. For the second straight year, the championship point leader wins at Darlington. Steve?
All right, Matt, thanks very much. With Carl Edwards, who came from 36th all the way to second. Now, you said the other day, this is your favorite track. I may have to go to a funeral because they repaved it, but it turned out okay.
Yeah, it's good. I'm okay with it. At first, I didn't like it too much, but my hat's off to Steve Addington and Kyle Busch. The fastest car won. They did a great job. I wanted to beat them so bad, though. I don't know if Harrison Ford's got allergies, but I got some Claritin. I'll send him. Kyle did a great job, and our pit crew, man, they came back. You know, at first we had a little bit of trouble. The pit crew came back, and really proud of them. I mean, I hate second place, but it's good for points.
And happy Mother's Day weekend as well.
Oh, yeah, they don't give a trophy for best looking mom, but I think I got that one this weekend.
All right, good job. Let's go to Chris Myers.
All right, thanks, Steve. And Carl Edwards, who moves up to 7th in points. Let's check in with Dick Berggren, who's standing by with Dale Earnhardt Jr. Dick?
And he worked awfully hard in that race car. How was it tonight?
Well, you know, we had a real good car all weekend. And when the race started, I knew we weren't exactly like we had been. And Tony Jr. just told me right after the race we changed the lower A-frame. And that might have changed how the car rolled over and traveled and stuff and handled. But, you know, we were off a little bit all night, weren't really that good. Track position was everything you could not pass, period. That's the worst I've ever seen it as far as trying to be able to pass. But I got a hand in my team. They worked hard. We worked hard. We finished top 5, so I'm pretty happy with that.
Junior with another top 5. A win is sure to come soon. Chris Devoda.
Last week in Richmond, Jeff Gordon used adjustments to fight his way into the top 10. This week, adjustments to fight your way into the top 5. Is this team back?
Well, you know, we're definitely making big strides. I'm real proud of this DuPont Chevrolet team tonight. Steve Letarte, I mean, he just did an awesome job. He's got these guys in the pits just on their game. I mean, that track position, you know, and getting us out of the pits and making good calls all night was key. You know, all I did was try to keep it out of the wall, which was not easy in itself, but you know, we just, we're off, you know. We just, I wish I wasn't so darn competitive because you have no idea how you know, I'm happy that we have a top 5 and that we're 3rd, and how frustrated I am at how far off we are from winning races right now. And, you know, this is Darlington. We did the tire test here, and, you know, the 18 really just kicked everybody's tail tonight. So we got some work to do. We've been working hard, and hopefully we get a little bit closer to them in Charlotte.
Thanks, Jeff. Chris Myers.
Thanks, Krista. And Jeff moves up into 10th in the chase for the championship. The top 12, of course, making it. We're 16. We're actually, after our 11th race of the season, inching a little bit closer. Let's head upstairs, get some thoughts from Darrell, Larry, and Mike. And indestructible is how Kyle Busch looked. 7 career wins for him already, guys.
There's a great story in today's New York Times about how Harold Brasington built this track in Ramsey's Peanut Field, and about its great history, and about how you have to race the racetrack. We talked about that all night long. But Darrell, are we about ready to turn the page? Because Kyle Busch didn't race the racetrack. He beat on it. He beat up on it. He beat up on his car, beat up on his crew. And he just beat this field into submission tonight.
Tonight was a smashing success, I might say, for the racetrack and for Kyle Busch. I thought it was an awesome race. With the speeds as high as they are, we set a new record for the race tonight. I mean, this car just impresses me how resilient it is and how it can bounce off the wall, climb the wall, run over other things, and keep on going. That's incredible to me.
Yeah, I mean, who would ever believe that we would only have 2 cars out of this race? We had 7 backup cars that had to start this race. And, you know, you got to tip your hat. Chris Browning and the people here at Darlington, they didn't want to repave this racetrack, but they had to after 13 years. And you know what? The other person or group we got to give a tip of the hat to, we had no tire failures. And that's hard to do on a brand new surface. But just a few guys I want to give a big data boy to. We talked about David Reagan, another top 5 finish, up into the top 12 in points. And then Travis Quapple and Dave Blaney ran there in the top 10 most of the night. We know certainly that all the focus will be on Kyle Busch, but that's guys that you're so glad to see them have a great run.
And the little bit of things, not the little bit, the things they've done to this racetrack, it's like home improvement. What they did tonight made a huge difference. Wait till they go to the next phase. This is our history. This is our heritage. I can't wait to see what they do to this place next, because this is by far and away where we started our sport at, and I'm glad they're rebuilding it and bringing it back to its glory, because this joint deserves it.
And that next phase is real close.
Well, it's been a fun night for us here at Darlington. I bet it was a more fun night for David Reagan. Dick Berggren's with him.
Yeah, I bet it was too. David Reagan finished in the 5th position. How hard did you have to drive to get that 5th spot?
I had to drive as hard as I could without beating up my right side of my AAA Ford. My spotter and Jimmy Finning probably wore out 2 sets of radios telling me to keep it calm and keep it off the wall. But that was a fun race, and man, to run in the top 5 here at Darlington, that's pretty special for my family and for all the real race fans out there. A lot of fun tonight.
Yeah, and he's in the top 12 in points too, Chris Myers.
All right, thanks, Dick. Yeah, 2 top 5s in the last 3 races for David Ragan. As we look at our unofficial results here, Carl Edwards finishing just behind Kyle Busch, Jeff Gordon, Dale Earnhardt Jr. Pretty impressive leaderboard. Matt Kenseth, remember in 2005, he was 24th, worked his way up to make the chase before finishing 7th in that championship year. And as we work through the order, Jeff Hammond.
Well, you take a look right back there. Jimmy Johnson struggled right there at the end. Mark Truex Jr. had a good car. How about Tony Stewart? Right at the end, probably had one of the fastest cars there, but because of that second lap incident with Elliott Sadler, he really struggled to get back to finish up 21st. But tough racetrack, and it pretty much shows all the way back to the fact that the guy who was a pole sitter, Greg Biffle, finishing dead last because of a mechanical problem.
Yeah, and 4 wins for Toyota this year. They had no wins last year, so whatever Joe Gibbs, whatever they're paying him, it's worth it. And the point standings with 15 to go until the chase. Jeff Burton still second. Denny Hamlin hanging in there at 4th. Carl Edwards moved up a few notches. Kevin Harvick, who had a rough night, and Jeff Gordon moving into the top 10. And Jeff, you talked about it with Darrell in the pre-race show. We counted 24 cars and more than 40 hits against the wall, some guys 2 or 3 times. And somehow through all this, they earn their stripes. That's what Darlington does to you. They leave their mark, but Kyle Busch survived it.
Yeah, guys like Sam Hornish, I think he hit it probably about 20 times tonight. One of the hardest licks we saw all night long had to have been Kevin Harvick, but this is what Darlington's all about. You think about the lady in black. Well, this wall was perfectly white when you dropped the green flag about 4 hours ago. Now you see the black stripe that just about goes all the way around the outside of this racetrack. Again, this is what this track is all about.
Saturday baseball on Fox, the Brewers and Red Sox, Dodgers, Angels, Indians, Reds, and the game of the week, 3:30 Eastern, 12:30 Pacific in high definition. So with Kyle winning 3 races this year, Carl Edwards 3, Jeff Gordon, Dale Earnhardt Jr., Tony Stewart, they've yet to win.
Well, what you're looking at right now has to be the fact that these guys are kind of shaping up to have a pretty good battle between these 2 young lines.
For Jeff Hammond, Chris Myers, thanks for being a part of NASCAR on Fox. And to all the moms out there, have a great Mother's Day. Thanks for watching.